It's Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek, and here's another quick episode of Coffee Talk. Let's have a virtual cup of coffee together this morning. I'm really enjoying this Starbucks 2 Honey Americano. Let's talk about making money on our raw land. So I'm assuming you went to frontierpropertiesusa.com. You just bought your first piece of wholesale land from moi. And now you're like, well, now what do I do with it? Do I just sit with that raw land and pay taxes? No, you don't have to. You can use it any way you like for your enjoyment. I can also teach you how to flip that property as well. But let's assume that you want to hold it long term. Let's make some money on that land. So a few ideas to do this. I'm just going to run off a couple ideas. The first one is, hey, how about a paintball area, a little play area there. If you got a nice little flat piece of land and put out some signs, cordon off some of your property, get some haystacks, let's say, make a little paintball area, charge people $40 a person. After a while, that's going to add up. It's certainly going to pay for your inexpensive property taxes. How about pasturing animals? If you're in an area where there's ranchers, sure, charge them to let those animals roam on your land, eat your grass. Fantastic way to make some extra money. Don't forget about hunting rights. If you've got a property, let's say it's 40 acres, and you've got some deer on your property, why not lease it out to hunters? Camping. People love to camp, and there's never enough remote areas for them to camp. Put up a couple inexpensive camping sites, charge everyone a small fee, and after a while you're going to have a nice passive income for camping. Storage. Nobody ever has enough storage. Motorboats, horses, I don't know. It just, you've seen all these storage places all around the country, right? Why not store it on your property? Charge a monthly fee, and who knows, maybe you will be on Storage Wars yourself. So anyways, if you want to learn more tips, tricks, techniques, how to buy and sell raw land for passive income, active income, go to my site, www.thelandgeek.com. You can always click the links below as well. Listen to the podcast. Great information there. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And of course, leave me a comment. Let me know how it's going here. What other information you'd like to learn. Anyways, thanks for having a cup of coffee with me. And I'll see you next time.
Happy, or vice versa.
Unbelievable. What's up with the glasses there, Four Eyes? What happened?
Which one, me or him?
I meant him.
I wear them occasionally because I'm finding it's just one of those things, right?
You're old.
What's up? What's up, Land Geek Nation, Land Geek Hive Mind? How's it going this evening? As people roll in here, it always takes a couple minutes just to, get all the participants rolled in. Why don't we just all introduce ourselves? We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Why don't we introduce each other?
Yeah,
That's
that would
Scott
be good.
Mossman.
That'd be good, actually. Let's introduce each other. So we'll do a round robin. I'll start. I'm going to do the guy in the tracksuit, okay? The guy in the tracksuit is a famous land geek, Mike Zano, Mike the Zen Master Zano. He's been doing this land business for about 7 years. Mike is notorious in the community for...
You're yawning at my introduction.
You are yawning at the introduction.
It was so boring, I was going to sleep. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, really? Come on. So Mike, just because he buckled down and he spent time on the business, he got out of $40,000 in credit card debt his first year in the business, and he paid for his wedding with his land investing dollars the second year in the
Check it out on
business.
TikTok.
He's still a firefighter, even though he doesn't need to be a firefighter. But there's something very exciting going on in Mike's life tomorrow, which I want to bring. Is it okay, Mike, if I bring it
Yeah,
up?
do it.
Okay, so this is pretty neat because I'm actually a little envious. I would love to have this type of experience with my boys. So tomorrow, Josh Zano, Mike's son, is graduating from the fire academy, and it's like amazing, right? Like you guys are going to work
That's
in the
cool.
same firehouse.
Yeah, eventually he's got to do a little bit of dispatch first, but he's loving it. And yeah, I'm very happy and proud. So it's going to be pretty awesome. He went through the 11-week academy and did well. So awesome. Well, I'll tell
Congrats.
you that on your left on my screen is probably one of the largest and most
Far right.
incredible land investors in our community, both in size and status and personality, hailing from the great state of Massachusetts, which I can say because we both live in that state. He and his wife are an incredible example of what hard work can do for you in this business. They know what it feels like to be in the dip, and they know how to come out of the dip. And that is even more important. Not just going in the dip, but coming out of it. Let's give it up for Matt Forbes.
Oh, I love what you did with the intro. Now I feel lacking on.
Now we
feel
have
like
to.
I
I
didn't
gotta
do a
do
good job.
Bosman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Have
ready?
fun
This
with
is
it.
it. Here we go.
I can't wait.
Ready?
I can't wait.
And that's Scott.
I love you.
All right. No, I can do
No.
this. I can do this. Bosman's been dude buddy for 6 years. He was a physical therapist. I think he's been running it for 5 or 6 years. Has been land investing. Obviously one of the nightcap guys. He quit his job 2 years ago, maybe 3, as a full-time physical therapist to do this full-time. And he is the one who got me into the business. So he's the man. I love him.
You're the man. I love
Scotty
you,
Too
buddy.
Hottie Bosman.
Love you, buddy.
Scotty Too Hottie.
I love it.
Scotty Too Hottie.
Collectively, we're the nightcap guys. We're land geeks, and we invest in raw land, and we make some pretty cool returns. And we come on here once a week, and we have a few drinks, and we talk about it. And here we are. So now that people are starting to roll in, you
Yeah.
must have questions.
Well, I have one request. I'd like to ask the audience how our sound is because that's always an issue. So,
Everybody hates my sound. I know.
no, your sound's actually good tonight. Forbes, you're
Yeah.
good. I'm wondering if
Which
I'm too
nothing
loud
has
as
changed,
usual.
by the way. So I don't know how that is.
What's that?
Oh, crap.
Like
Right.
nothing has changed since
Oh.
forever. So I don't know how it's better.
It's the tracksuit. I can't believe I didn't say
Definitely the
anything about the tracksuit, but
It's
look at that
tracksuit
thing.
and the pumpkin beer.
Well, it's a
Gotta be the
tracksuit
tracksuit.
business. It's a tracksuit
Okay.
business.
Are we back to that?
I'm pretty sure that on the anniversary show you said it was a tracksuit business.
I don't know what I said, and there is no record of what I said. Thank God. Feel good about that.
John Zeke does say the sound guy in the middle. That's me. I love to be in the middle of the. It's like a manwich. I'm right in the middle. Is a little loud and deep, but it's okay. All right. Thanks.
Oh, he's deep, John.
Is that
He's
philosophically
deep, baby.
speaking that he's deep? I don't get it. Or is it like,
Yeah.
well, he does sing and he's got a wide vocal range, so he could be just
Oh,
very deep.
it's nice
Dude,
of
buddy.
you. Nice of you. Jeremy Pierce says it sounds fine. Jeremy, thank you for tuning in. Jeremy, I got to give Jeremy props because Matt Forbes, for the first time this evening, we were not able to all go live on the platform TikTok, but this guy went live on TikTok for about 15 minutes for the pre-nightcap, the pre-cap nightcap is what we called it.
Recap.
The pre-cap. And I had a pre-cap on TikTok, and I talked to about 3 people there for a little while. It was fun.
Oh, that's fun.
He's picking up on followers. Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
I want to get everybody's opinion out there. So we have an option with our TikTok videos to share them into the Wealth and Creation group. Should we do that? Would you like to see what we're putting out there for content? What do you think, Matt?
I don't have. I don't
think-
know. I don't. I
That's like
haven't seen.
I hate TikTok.
I-
I hate Facebook. I don't care what you do with either one of them.
I think
For sure, I don't care. Like,
I-
no doubt about it. But I don't. If there's benefit, if you're putting out stuff that could be helpful to people, then yeah. Why wouldn't you?
I think
have-
Matt Forbes is sick of
Videos.
Scott Bossman and Mike Zano, personally. However, I will say this. Matt Forbes, when a video created by the guy in the tracksuit
Mhm.
has created now has garnered now 29,000 views. That's a pretty good video, and we should probably share it to the motivation group.
What is it of?
So I
Yeah,
Nice
tell us,
tracksuit?
Zano.
well, I did a long version. The long
He's
version I
dancing.
the long version that I couldn't put on TikTok. I'll send it over to you. Anybody wants it? Yeah, it's the long version, which is 4 minutes, is how to go from no list, go to Landmodo, go to Data Tree, pull your list, download your list, price your list, and upload it and send out. Actually, I sent out offer letters, and it was all in 4 minutes. I did a short version where I couldn't put it on TikTok and about how to do that, and I put it in there. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty good little thing.
Yeah, you should share that.
I do it now just for ease of just doing. I just chose a county that was just simple to show everybody with, but I think people shouldn't get hung up. I did Luna County where you can pick them up for like 300, $400.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to get hung up on the fact that, oh, it's $1,200 property you're going to sell it for. Well, no, you can do this anywhere. The method I use can be replicated at any price point.
Anyway, it's kind of fun. But Zano, I gotta say, you killed it on that video. And anybody who wants a copy, it's about a 4 or 5 minute video. Throw their
But your
email.
latest video about car payments.
Well, so I think about this business, and like when you're first explaining it to somebody, you don't want to go like too crazy in depth, but you want to convey the power of the business. And one of the things I was thinking about today was, in essence, what did this business do for me very early on? And I would say it started replacing bills. So when I got my first terms deal for $115 a month for 60 months, that $115 enabled me to take a chunk out of some bill in my life, right? And then when I rinsed and repeated 2 or 3 times and I had 3 of those payments coming in, 4 of those payments coming in, really when you look at it, like that's replacing a car payment. And then you just keep doing it, and that replaces a mortgage payment. For you, Zano, it replaced credit card debt. For you, Forbes, it created opportunities down the road. So I was just thinking about, how powerful that was. So I made a video about how you can buy land. Typically we're buying land for between $1,000 and $5,000, and we're going to sell it on terms. And an example I gave was, for those $1,000 properties we buy, I think a lot of us sell them for 99 down, 99 a month for maybe 48 months, 40 months, 36 months, whatever. You do that 4 times, and that replaces a car payment. You get a little bit bigger deal. Let's say you buy a more expensive property, and somebody pays 500 down, 399 a month, 499 a month. Those are amazing deals, right? It's not the most frequent deal that we get, but those are amazing deals. And you set somebody up on a note for $499 a month for 60 months. Forbes, how many of those notes do you have? Like, you have a ton of those notes. Like, that's an entire automobile purchase on
Yeah.
one land deal.
Or an RV.
Or an RV? Yeah, I pay for my RV with my land with my notes.
You know what I love about this particular business model? So we're, being now that we're on this platform, and not to go TikTok crazy, but there's other people presenting other opportunities, right? And a lot of them, I'm sure, are very good actually, but they involve a much more a higher risk, I would say. I mean, they're talking about investing in houses and apartment buildings. It involves credit. It involves a lot of different things, right? Startup costs a lot higher. This is something that I really think the average person can do with little or no credit. It doesn't matter. The people that we mail to, right, Matt? They don't. Do they care what our credit scores are when we offer to buy their
Hold
land?
on. There is no relationship to credit and doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So,
Zero.
but let me ask you this: if you were going to go buy a multifamily or do the Burr method, would
Oh,
credit
you're porked.
right? Unless you want to
You're
get hard money,
porked.
which is going to be another issue.
Right, but also like you're gonna go do the Burr method right now. What do you want to do? You want to go buy a house, the most expensive it's ever been ever in the history of the planet?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. You're gonna blow all your money on that? Like this is cheap money in, and it works. It works so well, it's boring, and people quit. Like, what
Right.
else are you looking for in a side hustle? Like, what else do
Well,
you want it to be?
it's interesting because we
Perfect.
talk to a lot of people in our community, and there are people in our community that do a lot of traditional real estate, right? And I
Mhm.
would say, well, what's your and I understand there are tax benefits, of course, to having like something
Oh yeah.
such as an apartment building or a multifamily, whatever. But I say, what do you, in terms of just pure cash flow, after vacancy rates, after everything, what do you, it's like, maybe $400 a unit or something, whatever it might be. And I know it varies, and I'm not trying to question that, but it's in terms of cash flow. So that you're going to spend $500,000 and then you're going to generate, maybe you generate $1,200 a month profit on, or whatever. And again, I know there's other benefits. I'm not doubting that, but I'm just saying in pure cash flow terms, what's it going to take you? What kind of cash outlay to get $1,000, $1,200, $2,000 of passive income in comparison to investing in something like that, right? It's just different. It's so different. It's so approachable. The average person isn't overwhelmed by the price points, and there's so much power in these small deals. It really is something that, you know,
You all right?
it's approachable. It's not like we're driving around in cars and and having all this going on and like, wow, I own 15 buildings, this and that. I mean, you'll be like, wow, that's great, but I don't see how I can do that, right? It seems like a long road. But when we say you can replace your car payment in one land purchase or a couple land purchases, that's like, oh, that's approachable. That's real. That's
Yeah.
realistic. That's doable.
You go into a multifamily, and like I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's where I always thought I would be. Um, you're in. That's the commitment. That's the real deal right there, baby. You're gonna go buy what a 30 unit building or a 12 unit building. I mean, it's that's real. Renters, the whole nine yards, right? You're in it. It's a good side hustle. You make a lot of money. You it's good appreciation. There's great depreciation, which we don't get in this niche. Um, but it is a million times riskier.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not even close.
Mm.
It's not even close. I mean, I have a bunch of friends who are very successful at this, and they're like, why would I go do that? Like, well, you could go make a lot of money. Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I've already quit my job. My wife quit her job. I'm all set. I don't need to go down that road. So
Right.
I'm a big fan. I bet I would be in multifamily at some point, right? I'm sure I'll go down there because I'm gonna need a place to park all this cash. So that's a good place to park it.
Yes.
But it is not this. It is not for someone who has a job who's like, I need to do something. I need a side hustle. I gotta get going. I gotta be making more money. I need safety. I need all these things, right? You're unlikely to go out there and actually do a deal and make it work. Whereas here, you're highly likely to go do a deal. And if
Yeah.
you go do a deal, it does work,
Right.
right? And even if it didn't, you're not 150 grand out with another 900 in a loan on something that's you're upside down on. Like let's just say
Right.
everything went to pot, right? I mean, you own a tangible asset that if you bought it anywhere close to right,
Right.
you could wholesale and break even.
Yeah, the safety margin's built into our purchase
It's
price,
so
isn't it?
big, yeah.
Because it
So,
could take a dive and values could drop in half. Great, we can still double our money.
yeah, exactly. So
That's
there,
the worst case scenario. Values drop in half, we double our money.
it's safe, it's cheap, it works, it's boring.
It Demonstrably works.
Demonstrably works. There's no getting around it. It just is what it is.
Uh,
It works.
It works in real time. Keith Forshay's here. He's trying to close one right now.
There you go.
Awesome. Anybody else close one today? Throw it in the comments. I closed one today. You did too, Forbesy? Two.
Actually, this woman who's bought a lot of property from us. We closed on 2. They were cash actually, so they were buy for 1,000, sell for 3. And
Nice.
she
The
picked up
bread
2.
and butter.
Yeah, I mean, we made 4. I mean, we made $4,000, and the volume of work that I did was exactly 0.00 seconds or effort of my time. I
What
didn't
about
buy
Ann?
that land. I didn't do any of that.
What about Ann? How much effort did she put in?
Anne spent about 40 minutes with this woman on the phone today solely because she wanted to pay with PayPal. And we were trying to figure out how to get around the 3% business fee.
Oh, sure.
And that was 45 minutes. And in the beginning, I said, I don't care. It's $180 just to pay the fee. And she's like,
Right.
no, we're not paying this fee. And 45 minutes later, she's like, all right, we'll just pay the fee. And I'm like, all right, like fine.
Was that your
Like,
version of "I told you so"? That's not going to go
Oh,
very well.
for sure. Like I was like, and
Yeah.
Hope Ann's not
absolutely.
watching. That could go
Yeah, and now
Well, it
it's
was like,
later.
well, it was,
going down
hey, well,
forever.
she could go and, we're gonna do like a money order or like a cashier's check, and I'm like, she's bought, 5, 6 properties from us. Just eat the
Yeah.
180 and let's put $6,000 in the account. What are we talking about here, people? Let's go. Right. So, yeah, that was a good day.
Would she? Is she opposed to wiring the money? Too inconvenient?
I listen. I get it.
Just
Yeah,
asking.
that would have been.
I'm in line with. I'm in line with. It's $180, whatever.
Oh, I am
for
too.
us.
I'm just. It's fine.
Yeah, I
All
have
good.
Devil
free.
advocating it. Devil
We have
advocate.
we have so much money in Bank of America that we get free wire transfers now, which
Yeah.
is like lovely. So yeah, that would have been better. But she's super busy. She's an MD. She's got things to do. So I'm like, just we could like have her like leave her practice to go to the bank. Like, okay, it's $180, whatever. Like she buys stuff.
Whatever.
It's 5 properties in 6 months. Like, no problem. We're like,
Is
we'll
it even
take
that much though? Yeah, it is that much. I guess it'd be $180 for $6,000. So yeah, I got you.
I did it on my phone.
It's 3
Yeah,
point
you're right.
something, 2 point something
Yeah.
something plus something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Any other? We got some people chiming in. They want to see the video. So to you folks chiming in, I will just. Teresa DeWitt, I know you. Monica Kenyon, I know you. John Zeke, we talked last week. John Zeke, I'm not sure if I have your email or not, so I'm going to throw my email in the chat, and you can message me.
Not creepy at all.
Ken Green is here.
I know you.
Ken Green is here. What's up? What's up, Ken Green? He's making fun of making fun of all of our.
Address.
I watch you at night. I have cameras in your
Hey,
house.
come on.
Oh, now it's creepy. Oh, okay. Now it's creepy. Okay.
Yeah, now it's creepy. It's strange. It's crossing the line. I wasn't crossing.
Reunion. When is it? When's the next reunion? When's our next anniversary?
Oh,
April.
Were you gonna meet up again?
Yeah,
I
you
thought we were going to Wisconsin.
April in Wisconsin, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
thought you were picking
Or-
us up in the RV.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
or-
Yeah, you and Laura.
Or we could do April in Chicago, which would be fun.
Oh.
No?
Hmm.
You wouldn't have to come as far, Forbes. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm looking
I
out
like
for you.
that.
We can
All right.
fly.
Jeremy-
We can fly the same flame plate.
Ken Green is picking on us in our positions. So he's talking about it's like the 3-card Monty with you guys, all different positions. So Zeno and Forbes and myself were in different positions, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
What does
I
that
won't,
mean, position?
I won't take that.
Take
the
what
wrong
you can
way
get.
at all, Ken Green.
Keith Forshey says, what do you say here? Well, I suck. Dang it! I'll get it eventually. So he must not have gotten the clothes. Keith,
it's okay.
I would feel more sorry for you if I knew you hadn't done a ton of frickin' land deals in the last few months. You'll be okay. Um, let's see what else we got here. Jeremy Pierce says TikTok is for short daily videos. Too many videos in the wealth creation group might get unsubscribed. Do a weekly mashup of TikToks and put it in the group. I like the weekly mashup idea.
So how do we make a mashup? Let's get some input on that. Let's get some ideas.
Well, I would think we could download the TikTok video and just mash them all together. I don't know. We'll have to look
Hold
into
on.
that.
What? Can I ask a question about who said that statement?
Jeremy Pierre.
All right, so
He was
super
my
smart guy.
he
We
was he
like,
was
we like
watching
Jeremy.
he was watching TikTok tonight. Jeremy was.
And maybe this is so I don't work at Land Geek, right? Like I'm like a third party independent guy, but if you want to unsubscribe. Like okay, go away. Like that's fine. Go back to your job. Whatever. Like, do we care? I mean, I don't work here, so I don't care. But I also like don't care. I mean, you don't like it? That's fine. Good luck. You know what? Go buy an apartment complex. See ya. Like, okay. I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong attitude to have. I don't know.
I think we should put two of them in the group. One of them, the one you just did, and then the one where I did the. I think those are two good samples to throw in there.
Yeah, we'll throw them in there. We'll see what comments we get. We'll maybe put a couple in a week or something like that. Let's see what else we got coming in here. My favorite boring business model ever. Is that James Simmons? James, is that you? John Zeke said. John Zeke said, I just had a medical exam. I'll send you the pictures. Oh, okay. Sure.
I'm uncomfortable.
Andrew Miller's here. Andrew Miller, good to see you. Good to see you as well. I hope you and your 4 little ones are well, and I hope Dylan as well. Here's a question. We got a question finally. You ready?
Let's hear it.
What marketing methods are hot right now? Mike Zana, we'll start with you.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with the obvious Facebook, but look what happened to Facebook earlier this week.
Right.
A little bit shocking that Facebook went down, right? So it just illustrates the fact that we need to be on multiple platforms. But Facebook is a great platform to be on. Landmodo always produces leads. Landflip is a great one. Land Century. If you want to go land and farm and all that, it's more money, but I'm depends what you have for inventory. Sometimes you can put yourself on Zillow. Craigslist. Actually, we just started doing Craigslist this week again. Let me see while we're live if I ever have any responses. That'll be cool.
Ooh, that would be exciting. Forbes, I'll get to you in a second, but John Zeke, he said, when you posted the email account, you were making jokes. We were making jokes, John Zeke, and I understood your joke. So here's the thing, though, on YouTube, I can't type my email address in there for whatever reason. So, John,
True.
You can email us at info@landgeekguys.com, and I'll send you that video tomorrow. Simon White says, where is Mark? Where is Mark? Where in the world is Mark Podolsky?
Napping.
Well, yeah, sleeping, out on the town. Mark comes on Nightcap occasionally. Otherwise, he leaves it to us yahoos to get on here and talk land investing and to answer questions about land investing. But Matt Forbes, while Zano's checking his emails, hot marketing platforms currently?
We actually sunset Facebook. I'm out. I'm off Facebook now. It's kind of cool.
You're out.
I'm quite happy. Buyers list and those the lands. We went sort of all in on the lands. So we have like
How's
a
it working?
premium. It's dominating. But
Good.
we pay for the super expensive one where all of our stuff is at the top of the page, and it's worked really well. I mean, the market's really hot, so is it that, or is it what? I don't know, but I we're just tired of getting booted off of Facebook and trying to play that game, and this is working just as well. And it got to be the point where all the VAs that I were paying to do it I'm paying more than I was before, but it's not vastly different. So let's
Well,
just wait and see.
if you make more sales a month, I mean, there's a
Oh yeah,
difference. I mean,
yeah, for
that
sure.
brings
So
that brings to light, uh, you know, a conversation about you are further along in the business, which creates more opportunities for you. You have
yeah,
more money to spend, right? When you're starting out, you need to
yeah, you
go
can't
with
do
the
that.
free you need to go with the free platforms.
Yeah,
I mean, free.
yes,
We need Facebook Marketplace. It's free. We need Craigslist. It's free. We need MailChimp. It's free. We need these free platforms. But when you're
yeah,
down the road, when you're bringing in $10,000, $20,000 a month passive income,
yeah.
you can, and you're getting multiple cash sales a month like the two you had today,
Yeah, it pays for it
right?
for a long time. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree with that whole. I mean, look, we only just went to that in the last couple of months. So up
I
until
saw
then,
you
it
on
was all
there.
Craigslist, and then it was all Facebook, and it was,
Actually,
the land flip here or there or whatever. But it was mostly free stuff that we worked and we grinded on it. And now we're at a place where we are willing to throw a little more cash at it, so we don't have to deal with it.
Actually, I was on there recently and I happened to see one of my properties that I land arb to you featured on Landwatch. And I've thought to myself, I wonder if he sold that yet. Interesting.
Which, wait, which one?
Mojave County.
I no, that's probably not yours. I liked what I saw, so I
Oh,
went
you
into
used
the
the
county and
picture?
mailed and bought it like way more. Yeah.
You just used those pictures over. Used my pictures.
Well, so I was gonna go pay a guy to go
Do I
out
get a
there and
commission
take more
on
pictures.
that sale since I provided the
No,
pictures to you?
negative. The pictures came with the land arb, so we
Oh, okay.
absolutely repurposed those over
Right.
and
Yeah.
over and over
They're
again.
nice pictures. Nice
They
pictures, aren't they?
are, and they're really helping sell all those properties. So, good job. Yeah, we sold yours a
I'm
long
glad
time
I,
ago.
I'm glad my pictures have helped pay for your land subscription. All
I'm
right.
glad that I pay you every month, so that works out
I
really well for both of us. It
I
sounds
love
like
you.
it's good
I
stuff.
love you.
Oh,
I
and you
love you.
guys have so much fun together.
Oh, stop! I have more land arb from you than him. Knock it off.
Monica Kenyon. Monica, how are you?
Ooh.
Monica is in flight school currently. She's in flight school. Hypothetical question for you. I like
Ooh.
this. All right. If you have a buyer that decides to take advantage of the money back guarantee, how does that work deed wise? So, Monica, I'll tell you that
Oh,
we have a money back guarantee on terms deals, but we do not have a money back guarantee on cash deals. Cash
cash
sales
is
Okay.
are
typically
final.
final. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cash sales are
Correct.
final. I think there's been one time in 6 years where I did buy it back from a guy that I had sold it to for cash, um, because he was having some type of, you know, uh, he had some type of personal issue that I don't know, struck a chord with me, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Let's take care of this. But yes, all cash sales are final. Matt Forbes, that brings to light a question. Do you have a guarantee on your terms deals?
No, we did. We did the 90-day thing that Mark, talks about for a long time, and then and then we had this one buyer who bought and then did a refund and then bought and then did a refund and then wanted to buy again, and I was like, nope, I don't need you, and I don't need your crap, and I'm all done with this, and I'm out. And what they were doing, as it turns out, was they were buying on terms and then reselling. And if they could find a buyer then they would keep it and do the transaction. And if they couldn't, then they would just give it back. And I was like, okay, I'm out. And that was one out of the hundreds and hundreds of people that we have sold property to. So we kind of just said, you know what, we're going to get rid of it. I will say that I did a refund last week, without the guarantee. It was like the right thing
Right.
to do. So I still do it. But I did take that off the website.
Nice.
Okay.
So, and
No, it's
if you're gonna do it, you just sort of do it. I think in the beginning we leaned on that as a crutch, right, to feel really good about it when we were talking to people, and then I think when you've been doing it long enough, you realize like it doesn't. It kind of doesn't matter, and you don't need it as a crutch. Like what you're doing is a really good service for people, and they really want what you're selling anyways, and so you don't have to rely on that. But I think to each their own with it. But that was something that we did over the summer. So that's only been a couple of months without that. And, total outside of that one, Neanderthal, the amount of refunds I've done in 4 years is count on one or two hands. It's pretty small.
right.
It just doesn't, it almost doesn't happen.
I want to see.
Mike
so if
Zano,
I
you have a
go on-
guarantee? You have a guarantee on your
Yes.
terms deals?
Yeah, but not in cash. But of
Right.
course, I don't know. Everything's dependent on the situation. We work with everybody, but not typically on a cash deal. No, we don't. We don't. I want to know if I can see Matt. Do you have your picture here when I go on the lands? Do you have like a profile picture? I want to see that.
Ant's
me?
on there.
I have
What's
no
he-
idea.
No.
What's the website?
It's
No,
Ant. Landwatch.
on the lands.
Is it
Landwatch.com.
Dude, what do I look like?
Go to Landwatch, and I'm pretty sure it was Ann that I saw.
Okay,
Go to Landwatch. Go to
I'm
Mojave
going right
County. Go to Mojave County and search for land between $4,000 and $7,000.
I put in my company name and that didn't work. Where am I going? Mojave? Bosman, where
Mojave.
do I own land?
Well, yeah, Mojave. I have the parcel number actually. I actually just paid the taxes on the parcel today. It's interesting.
Oh. Yeah.
Here's a good question. While you guys are searching, Joel Peterson. Joel Peterson is here. He's in flight school, just starting out. So we're talking week 2 of flight school. Joel's question, Mike Zano, I'm coming to you with this one right away.
All right, let's
Is
hear it.
Landmodo Premium worth it when you're just starting out?
Well, I know in the beginning you're trying to minimize cost, but I like the idea of being able to send it out, in his weekly broadcast. That's huge. I would say it is worth it, but I understand that in the beginning, you're trying to minimize cost, right? So you might there's a lot of leads out there in Facebook. You might, get your training wheels going with some Facebook stuff and then scale up as you get some sales. It's really, this is something where we say it's sort of like when we say there's software out there that can make your life easier with the business, right? But you don't have to do that. You can do it all yourself and you can minimize the cost. It's just something that's available. You're still going to sell land if you put ads out on the free platforms, but if you have the ability, the more platforms you get on, the more likely you'll sell land, the more land you'll sell in a faster, quicker, right? So it's definitely worth it, but I understand if you needed to wait because of, you're starting out and you're trying to cut costs.
That was a good answer. I agree.
You concur?
I concur. It's completely a case by case, situation, right? Some people are more constrained with their capital when they're first starting out. For those people, I would not recommend you do a premium paid marketing platform. I would recommend you go with those free platforms. And and which ones are free? We've already talked about it tonight. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, your buyer's list, MailChimp. It's free to have an account on there. And Land Century you used to be able to do one free ad. I don't know if that's the case anymore. There are a few cheaper ones out there, but I would start with those. And I do love the Landmodo premium deal just because you are blasted out on Scott Todd's weekly Sunday blast, and we've gotten a lot of leads from there lately. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question, Joel. Facebook user says, "Oh snap, stole some pics." Yep, he sure did.
No, hold on.
John
No,
Zeke.
excuse me. Facebook user, pound
He
sand.
bought the
I paid
pics.
for them. I
He
bought
bought
them.
the pics. He's fine. He's good.
Yeah.
I'm good. We're good.
What am I, Mike Zano? Good Lord.
The question is though, when you buy the pics, can I still use the pics? Because I do. So don't get all mad at me
No,
if I
you
use
sold
them.
them to me. I own
No.
them. You're
I'm using
you're
them.
out. Okay.
John
Sounds good.
Zeke. John Zeke's question. Talk about flight school in general. So when people come to the Land Geek, there are basically two pathways, right? There's the do-it-yourself pathway, the toolkit. You got to have a lot of discipline, just like with any do-it-yourself pathway. And then you have flight school where we do it with you. And more than ever before, we're doing it with you, which is pretty cool. Oh, it's actually pronounced Gicky? Gicky. Is that right, John? Polish, don't worry about it. No one gets it right. Okay, it's Gicky. Mike Zano, talk briefly for a minute about flight school in general.
What's great about flight school is its actual business model, right? It's Scott Todd's business model, which is a business model that pretty much all of us follow. It's not just information about land investing, it's how to set up your business so you're the CEO. And you don't have to have any knowledge of land investing, or you could be someone who's doing multiple deals per month. It's still going to benefit you because what it does is it breaks down step by step the exact process, workflows, and where he hires his VAs, everything. It's very comprehensive and it's done in a very progressive manner where you can scale your time. You take an hour a week and watch the class. You take a few hours per week and execute upon what he wants you to execute upon, and then then following week you do it again. You rinse and repeat, and it gets you committed to a time sort of. When you want to make a change or create something new in your life, whether it is exercise or something business wise, you need to get in a rhythm. You need to get a routine going where you are constantly executing so you then begin to get the results. This will be that week to week execution where you meet at the same time and you have accountability and you have execution, but you've done it and it's a very sequential manner where you grow very gradually, but at the end, the sum of all the parts is the sum. How do you say that, Scott? The synergy when the
The
sum is greater than all the
the
parts or something like that?
the sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So
Yeah.
you really, at the end of it, you have a working machine, and now you just need to do deals and sort of refine that machine as you go. There's a 180-day money back guarantee. We don't even really talk about that much, but it's there because the reality is if you follow this method, this recipe as we describe it, you will buy deals. We know that with certainty, and that's why there's a guarantee there. You will sell property. We know that with certainty. That's why the guarantee is there. So, the biggest thing that has to happen is that you need to believe in it. Actually, this brings up a great point. I was reading this book I've had for a while. Have you guys ever seen this book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love this book. And so one of them, he has a topic, a subject. I think it's lectures he gave. It's called Applied Faith, and it's not about believing in some sort of orthodox religion or anything like that. It's about the idea behind that you truly need to believe in what you're going to do for it to succeed, right? You have to bring to the table the fact that, that you're going to commit to something, you're going to believe in it, you're going to see that it's going to change your life, and then you go and you execute. You can't be doubting yourself, right? You have to have this positive mind frame, and it talks about, he says right in there that you need to align yourself with at least one or several people who are going to mentor you along the path. That is a proven path to success. And Flight School is mentoring with Scott Todd, who, in my estimation, is the best person you could ever learn from to do land investing. He has it down to a science. So you're mentoring with someone and you have the faith because you know the person you're learning from is showing you the exact way that he's making thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars each month doing this business with passive income. So you're replicating his process. So Flight School is the quickest way to get set up. If you know that land investing is as powerful as it is, and you know that you want to do it, this is the logical next step, right? We have time and time people that will come to us 100 times, Scott, right, and say, well, I wish I did that sooner, or so on and so forth. Think about you in the future. This is something that was interesting. I think we saw a video on this, right,
Oh, I
Scott?
like
The guy
that.
was saying if you could go back and convince yourself, so you started at what age, Scott, roughly?
At what age?
Yeah.
I had just turned 40.
Matt, how old were you when you started
Real estate or land?
the land investing?
Yeah, 39.
Oh, so about the same. So if
Yeah.
you could go back to your 30-year-old self, your 25-year-old self, but you could go back. But the you that you going back to doesn't know it's you in the future. How much effort would you take to convince that person to actually take the step and to go and start investing in raw land? Would you take no for an answer? If you
No,
knew
absolutely not.
you would drive them crazy until they actually, you would say, you would be at, that's what you have to look at. That don't look at it and say, well, geez, I should have started years ago. Who cares? Go forward now 5, 6, 10 years. Envision yourself there coming back now and envision all the success. Come back and telling yourself now, you need to do this. Like, this is going to change your life, because it does change your life. And so you have to realize the power in this. And if you do realize the power in this, you need to just get educated, and you need to step up, and you need to learn how to do it in the correct way so you can scale it and do. All of us here are doing multiple deals at a time, but we're not doing them. We have people in our team that are helping us. So Flight School is about all that and more. So I can't say enough about it. Scott Todd has impacted all of us, the three of us. There was no Flight School when Scott Mossman and I started, but Scott Todd was there as an example, and the beginnings of Flight School were there, and we were following his lead, literally. And Matt went through Flight School with him, so we've all been impacted in that way. So, and if you look at anybody who's really crushing the business that's anywhere related to us, they've all gone through Flight School. So it's just that important. It's that real. The decision is, do you want to do this, or do you just want to talk about it? I don't know, and that's fine. We're happy to talk about it with you. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's Jiki, by the way, John Jiki. You guys remember that for the future, okay? Um, so this, we have two comments here, and they really just kind of parlay off of what you just said, Mike Zano. So one is from Joel Peterson, who started with the toolkit. One is from Andrew Miller, who started with the toolkit, right? And Joel says, as someone who's 2 weeks into flight school, he recommends it 100%. Andrew Miller says, flight school saves you so much time in figuring out the logistics of the business. If you're here because you value your time, then not doing flight school makes sense. Maybe that's meant to say if you're here because you're but I understand what you're saying, Andrea. Um, your return on time invested, that is a concept that is talked about in the book, Matt Forbes, your return on time invested. Isn't that talked about by Rory Vaden in Procrastinating on
Oh,
Purpose?
yeah, absolutely. And I would argue that I know we talk about time saved and therefore it's worth the money. It's worth the money because it's just straight out worth the money. Not
Yeah.
because of time. I mean, yes, time, but like, unless you can go read words on a page and then go execute into the blind darkness that is something you've never done before, then you need flight school. Otherwise, you're going to make mistakes, which cost you time. But those mistakes, they cost you money. Like, there's no free lunch. That's it. Like one way or the other, you're going to pay. Right. But it's not like it's not just you pay with your time. That you're going to make. The only way you learn is to go just make a bunch of mistakes, which is fine. It's just there's a shortcut. But those mistakes still cost you money. You mail the wrong place. You go do this the wrong way. God forbid you buy the wrong deal. Right? I mean, like there's real things going on there, and it's not just time. Time is easy to understand, but there are real hard sunk costs to not doing it and taking action. Right? But the reality is for most people, they'll never get there because the darkness is scary and you don't know, and there's too many questions, and therefore you don't do it, and then you're sitting on the sidelines and you never do it. So do it.
That's the other thing is it's just not emphasized enough, I don't think, how powerful it is to go through this with others. And Mike Zana, we were talking about this yesterday during our working lunch because Matt Lee, who is only 2 weeks into flight school, he's already had his first sale. But
That's ridiculous.
that fuels the other 15 people in his flight school group, right? And when Matt in 1 month from now hits a dip, which he will hit a dip because it just happens,
The dip's
someone
coming.
else in that group will come out of the dip and pull him along. And it's just really, really phenomenal in that way that you can collaborate for 4 months with a group of really talented people who all have a passionate why. We all have a passionate why for doing this business. And when 15 of those people get together,
It's awesome.
it's a pretty cool group to belong to, I think.
Definitely.
Jeremy Fear, flight school cuts 12 months off the learning curve. Couldn't agree more. Texas Terrain Lawn Care. I know you. I know Texas Terrain Lawn
He
Care.
was here another time.
Yeah, and I knew him
Texas
then too,
Lawn
and I
Care.
couldn't. It's not Robbie. No, it's not Marcus. Found property in Texas for 1,000. It's a no-brainer to buy. Texas Terrain Lawn Care. Congrats.
Buy it.
I'm sure you're buying it at 25 cents on the dollar. We make our money on the buy, right? So Cecil, that's who it is. I knew it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Do you
Cecil.
not like have a cheat sheet like
I need a
CIA
cheat sheet.
operators where you're like, this is their handle and that's their name.
Yeah, for all the YouTube handles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Berserk says, "Wow." Yeah, I agree. Wow. Fellas, it's been a little quieter tonight than normal, but
Yeah.
we've had some good discussions, I think.
What the crap?
Last week there were so many questions, it was insane.
Yeah, last week was good.
Well,
right.
waxes and wanes.
Tonight was good too.
What is this? The
What's that?
moon? What are we talking about here?
Are we gonna oh, Andrew Miller says, I'm in a big dip. You guys always help to bring me back up. This community is great. I mean, Andrew, it still happens to this day, honestly. 6 years later, it still happens.
Miller.
I'm not gonna lie.
Miller. Hold on. I had something
Oh,
that I will share with you. Oh, I gotta find it. There it is. There it is. Note service fee income.
Yes.
January 1st to December of 21. $5,778.
Just for the note service fee.
Just on note service fee. Stick with it. You will get there. I promise. It's right there.
It's awesome, dude.
Just don't do
Good
what,
work.
Matt?
Just don't fucking quit. Just don't quit.
Don't quit. What was I going to say? I was going to say one more thing before we leave. Words to Live by Joel from that's comment from Joel Peterson. We got some dates to talk about here real quick before we jump off. So October 11th at
Yankee
Monday.
Cruise open bar.
no at
Oh.
9
All
p.m.
the above.
Eastern Monday 9 p.m. Eastern. We are doing a Land Geek 101 Land Investing 101 event where we are giving away a toolkit. You can find details in the Land Geek Motivation group on Facebook, or for the people on YouTube, how do I get them that info? Go
TikTok
to
has the info.
TikTok has the info. We're
We
not
can
able to post
a
links
link
on
in the
YouTube.
channel, can't we?
No, we can't
the
post
comments?
links on YouTube. So if
No.
you want to attend our Land Geek 101 event Monday night, email me or Mike at
Scott, we couldn't do a
info@landgeekguys.com.
We couldn't do a quick video on YouTube and put in the description the link.
Yeah, we could do that.
Let's do that
Yeah,
tomorrow.
let's do that. All right,
Yeah,
we'll do
get
that.
to work, fellas. For heaven's
Okay.
sakes, come on.
All right. So that's
Ridiculous.
Monday, October 11th. Friday, October 22nd is our virtual boot camp.
Yes.
You can attend at home in your jammies or tracksuit, whatever you prefer. 3 days on Zoom, total immersion in land investing. And I don't know, Zano. I mean, we've done a few virtual ones now. They go pretty well. There's a ton
pretty
of Q&A time. We have working lunches where we basically just do Q&A throughout the entire hour and a half lunch. We have Q&A sessions at the end of the day. You'll get all of your questions answered regarding this business, regarding Land Geek education opportunities, everything. And then November 9th is the next flight school. So those are the dates. And then I wanted to ask you guys, are we going to have a Halloween show? We're going to have a Halloween show?
On Halloween?
No, let's look at the calendar
'Cause
here.
we're having a
So,
Halloween party. That would be
Oh.
bad.
Hey, when
Well,
are we
if-
meeting next week? I can't meet next week, just so you know. I'm out.
okay.
We're
Fine.
meeting every day.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Since you're not around, we'll just do it whenever we can. Fine.
Yeah, no, of course.
Uh,
I was just
So Wednesday the 27th or Thursday the 28th, Mike Zano. It should be our Halloween episode, yes?
Yes. We're gonna dress up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
That was last year.
I
I
could
was
just wear
Scott
my
Todd.
tracksuit to my Halloween party.
Last
Oh,
year you were Scott
God.
Todd. You were Scott Todd. I was Neo, and Matt Forbes was
Awesome.
a golfer. Were you?
Yeah.
What's his name from
He was a-
Caddyshack?
Yes.
No, I think I was just wearing my knicker hat just because I was lazy. I think
This year I might be Todd Scott.
Todd
There you go.
Scott. So handsome guy from California with a full head of hair.
Exactly.
Nice.
How'd you? That is Todd Scott here.
Todd
Scott Todd loves. He talked about it for 6 months afterwards. He loved it.
Did
Oh, right. No, he did not love it.
he? No.
All right. So one of those nights, Zano, do you know right now? Wednesday the 27th, Thursday the 28th, Halloween
I
episode.
can tell you. I can tell you. Hold on.
All right.
As far as next week, what is tonight? Today is Thursday.
Today's Thursday.
So next week I can do. Oh, probably Thursday.
Thursday next week, that'll be just you and me, Mike. And then the following week
No
is
Matt
actually going to
Forbes.
be. The following week is actually going to be Friday, October 22nd is when we do our boot camp. Then,
So will you look?
if you're
what
around,
did you
Forbes.
say- What day did you want to have it? Wednesday or Thursday? Oh, I see what you're saying.
27th or
see.
28th.
Let's do it 28th.
28th is the Halloween episode.
Halloween. Happy Halloween, folks. See if I dress up as Todd Scott. And
it might be fun to have some other land geeks on
He
that
does
night. So
have
maybe we'll
pale
see what.
skin, so I can't do Todd Scott.
Let's see what we
I would
can
like to
coordinate
see.
that night.
I would like to see Eric Litchfield dress up as Tate and be Eric. Yeah, Eric Litchfield.
Eric Peterson as Tate.
Yeah, Eric Litchfield. I'd like to see that.
We should see if
What I
one
think
of the
we should do.
We haven't had the coaches on here in a while. Let's see if we
Well,
get some to our Halloween episode.
That's what I'm saying. I think we should. I think we should have as many people as possible on the Halloween episode. That'd be fun.
Matt, you're dressing up, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear this awesome tracksuit I bought and wore
Matt
one
will
time.
dress up and sing, folks.
We don't.
All
There's
right.
no singing. That's not happening.
Rodney Haley wants to share real quick before we leave. He has a win for us. So Rodney, please post in the group. And then one last question from John Cheeky. Oh boy, John, this is a doozy. What write-offs do you have as a business? Since everyone is talking no tax write-offs this way, I assume there are lots of them. Like any business, travel should be easy to do.
Who
LOL.
said no write-offs?
No, there are write-offs.
Did you say that? I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
There's no depreciation.
There's no depreciation.
Depreciation. But brother, it's a home-based business.
My pool.
Right.
There's so much to write off.
Kidding. Yeah, there's no depreciation. So he's talking depreciation. So there is no depreciation on the assets that we own, the raw land assets that we own. Okay. So that's just one of the.
That's the point. Hold on. That's the idea.
Yeah.
They don't, not just from like an interesting tax code
So
perspective.
don't make it a negative, you're saying.
In real life, they don't. That dirt is still dirt. That's one of the reasons it's such a great way to go. I know it's counterintuitive because depreciation is such a strong thing, but that's what makes it so safe.
Right.
It's dirt.
Right. Exactly. Rod Haley, are you there for your win? He hasn't posted it yet. Says he has a win for us. Let's see. Forbes, since you shared, I'll share my deal today while we're waiting for Rod. Let's see.
Yeah, what'd you do?
$249 doc fee, $199 down. Let me check. $199 down, $172 a month for 60 months.
How the hell did you get to 172 a month?
It's just a random
And I'm
number.
zero
We
money.
Make up the numbers, folks. We just make them up.
I'm $0. I'm $0 into the property.
I want 171.50.
I know, right? It's $173.48 a month.
They can
sir.
literally do that, right? It's so crazy. That's the inefficiency, isn't it, Matt? It's like you can literally what's it worth? I don't know. Let's sell it for great. Like my sales guy calls me, hey, what this person wants to know if we can do this. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you know yet, but we sort of make these up. That's good.
Yeah. So I have to share this story. I worked for a staffing firm, and that was the same thing, right? You pay somebody whatever, $50 an hour, and then you bill them out as at whatever you can get. And so like, what's the bill rate, right? And most people are like, yeah, it's at $94 an hour, and I would always be like, it's $103.48. People are like, oh, they're like, wow, that's really specific, and I'm like, it's just a calculation. I'm like 100% just rolling off my tongue, just totally made up. We had our CFO at one point come to all of the branch managers. I was a branch manager, and he goes, if we raised all of our bill rates by 25 cents, the company would net $11 million. So can we just raise every time you have a bill rate with one of your people, just raise it by a quarter, and we're good. I'm like, huh? And it's the same thing in this. Your monthly payment is an arbitrary number that you decide. You decide what it's worth, and if somebody wants to pay it, they will. But when it gets down to like 180, 184, 182, it's just made up.
It's inefficient, folks. That is the best example of what Matt just gave.
There was some serious math behind those numbers. I'm telling you. Anyway, did I mention I'm $0 into that deal?
You did.
Right.
Well done.
One last question. Cluster price. Do you buy properties from tax deed auction land deals? I would say 99% of us, 95% of us do not. We do it from the comfort of our home. We
Or
buy and sell
yeah,
properties.
you
What?
find that list and you see it's about a month or two out, you're gonna do what's called degrabbing. You're gonna go and you're gonna contact those owners directly and say, you're about to lose your property. Did you know that? And by the way, I'm interested in it. Would like to make some money before you do. And then that person who's waiting for that property at the auction is going to be like, all of a sudden they're going to see it go click. What happened to that? Oh, it's off the auction. Somebody else bought it. What? Like you're grabbing at that point.
That's a good way. It's a
Right.
good strategy. A lot of effort and a lot of work, but
Well,
for
you can
somebody with no
outsource it.
money. What's that?
You can outsource it. I've had those calls with people. And literally, it's just like,
I
hey,
have.
Matt, I don't know if you know, but your property in
Oh, yeah.
on November 5th is about to be sold. And I don't want to make any assumptions, but if you weren't intending on paying those back taxes, I'd like to give you some money so you'd actually make some money and I'll take over and I'll pay the taxes. Would you be interested? And you call 20, 30 people or someone does, you're getting a deal.
Oh, I think it's less than that. But I had one, and the guy is like, "Let me think about it." I'm like, "What's there to think about? You're either gonna get nothing, or you're
I
gonna
love
get
it. Tell them that. I love it.
$1,500
Like,
bucks."
hold on. What do you mean? Are you going to pay the taxes or are you not? Okay, no. Then you need to take my deal. You understand? $0 or some dollars.
You know what the guy
See,
did?
this is like, you sound like Tony Soprano right now, and you're in your tracksuit. You're like, you're gonna take my deal?
It's work. So I feel like it.
Yeah,
That's true. My guy,
dude, you gonna
didn't
take my deal?
the deal?
Uh,
For the
yeah,
record,
take the deal. Take the deal.
You take a deal and you lost the property.
Yeah.
That's crazy. People like
And
that.
I'm just like, all right, so because it was like, dude, it was days away. It was just days away, and I'm like, so let me just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Clarify this.
You could either A, have $700 in your pocket, or B,
$0.
not have $700 in your pocket. And he's like, "Yep, I'm not doing this deal." You're like, all right, well, I guess I'll go buy it at the tax auction. Bye. That was it. I've never done the whole tax auction thing.
No, I've
Personally.
tried a couple online. The reality is you could probably make some great money. I know some people that have talked to me and talked to us over the years have done that, but we get enough property, trust me, by mailing direct that
Right.
you don't have to worry about that. If you want to go there, it's just like, do you want to deal with probate issues? Do you want to deal with trust issues? Do you not trust as in if they trust you? We're not saying no trust issues. I mean like a trust. Then go ahead and do that, specialize. But if you don't want to, you'll still have deals.
Yeah. You can make money in any of these other tiny little ways. The question is just, what do you want to do?
Upon niche, upon niche, upon niche.
Gets niche. All right, we out of here.
Niche,
Let's get
niche.
outta
Yeah,
here.
we're out of here. You guys go to bed.
That was
I know you're
bonus
tired.
content.
But
Was
3
bonus
hours past
content.
my bedtime.
And a
And
3 hour.
my
All right.
son's bedtime.
Night, everybody.
My freshman is sitting awake. What is he doing? What are you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Matt Forbes.
Go to
I'll say
bed.
this on the air. You need to have. I'm going to call upon you to have a 5-minute call with my 22-year-old who wants to. I'm like, I have a friend who's. How old are the kids doing deals now? How old are they, Matt? The boys.
14 and 13.
Yeah, I told him. He's like, what? I go, yeah. I go, the only thing is you just have to decide you want to do it. So Matt, I need a 5-minute call to shake him up.
It'll be about a half an hour, and he'll be a new man when I'm done with him.
Can't wait. Thank you.
You yell at that
All
kid.
right. I'm going to send my son to you, too. All right.
Fine.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Stick with me on this video to learn the 10 reasons land investing, that's right, land investing is the best passive income model. In fact, I even had Grant Cardone and Tom Wheelwright from Rich Dad Poor Dad on my podcast, The Art of Passive Income Model podcast, agreeing with me. If you want to know the 10 reasons why land investing is the far superior investing model, stay tuned. So I'm Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek, and I've been a professional land investor for over 20 years. I was a miserable micromanaged investment banker. I had a 45-minute commute to work and back, and it was miserable. But in just 18 months, I was able to quit my job. So let's go over the 10 reasons land investing is the best passive income model. Number one, it's a huge market. Every venture capitalist asks the same question: how big is the market? Our market is massive. There are 3,007 US counties and billions of vacant land available. You, me, 1 million people could be in our niche. We'll all run out of money before we run out of deal flow. Not only is it a huge market because there's so much vacant land, but you have a larger market because you're not confined to one or two metropolitan areas. If you were to flip houses or become a landlord, you'd most likely be constrained to opportunities in just your area. Land investing can be done entirely from your laptop without ever having to set foot on a property. That means your market is the entire United States. Number two, there's no big money in our niche. Private equity groups, hedge funds like tax liens, multifamily, residential tax funds, or private equity groups, they shy away from our niche because they have too much money to invest. Our average deal is around $2,500. That's it. Number three, if the average deal is $2,500, then you don't need much money to get started. I started with $3,000. Some of my clients started with $500 to get going with their first deal. Let's take a look at some example deals from real land investors in our community so you can see how little money you need to invest up front to see some big returns. Joe bought a property for $650, including taxes, then sold it for $2,650 plus a $199 doc fee charged to the customer. That's a 338% return on investment. Caleb purchased a parcel with back taxes owed totally at $700. He sold it for $2,600. That's a 270% ROI. Jason bought a property for $2,000 and sold it for $5,000, 150% return on investment. And these are deals that people do every day. We often refer to deals in terms of baseball: singles, doubles, triples, home runs. All these examples are singles. Build enough momentum, keep making singles, and you'll win this game. Or Jeff, who turned his $5,000 investment into $17,500. But take a look at some of these deals. Roy bought a half-acre lot for $1,800. Then he sold it for $16,800. That is 833% return on investment. Where else can you put your money to work like that? Then there's Chad, who purchased a small plot of land next to a restaurant that was looking to expand. He was able to sell the parcel of land he bought for only $900 and flip it for $35,000. That's right, $35,000. While that's a home run deal you won't see every day, there are plenty of opportunities to make a great profit. Number four, there's virtually no competition. You won't go on HGTV or the DIY network and see me on Flip This Land. The before picture is raw land. The after picture is raw land. It's boring TV. Plus, if you go to a RIA meeting, a Real Estate Information Association meeting, there's say 100 people in that meeting. 99 of them will be house flippers, landlords, and wholesalers. You and I would be the only land investors. In this business, competition is considered a good thing. If you are selling land in a county with other land investors, that's a sign that the market is healthy. There is a reason other land investors are working in that area, and it's a great place for beginner land investors to actually start. Remember, there is so much available land out there that we'll all run out of money before we run out of deal flow or more land. Number five, raw land actually cash flows. Now, the way we sell it is by owner financing, and we just create a land note and receive mailbox money every single day. And the game we play is, can we create enough of these land notes where our passive income exceeds our fixed expenses, and then we're working because we want to, not because we have to. Let's look at some example terms deals so we can just see how it's done. Adam here bought 2 properties for a total of $1,700. He then sold the property on terms. The buyer will pay him $225 per month for the next 60 months. Multiply that out, and it's $13,500 he'll earn from this sale over the course of the next 5 years. Billy bought a property for $1,600. He struck a great deal with his buyer. The buyer put $2,000 down and will pay $250 for the next 4 years. That is a profit of $12,400. The goal is to create more and more of these terms deals. The first few you get will replace a car payment. Then you get a few more, and all of a sudden you're covering your mortgage in time. With enough terms deals, you can replace all of your fixed expenses. So let's talk about what happens if someone defaults. Well, basically, the way that we structure it is with what we call a land contract. So they make their down payment, they make their monthly payments, and if they don't continue paying on their note, we keep the down payment, we keep the monthly payments. We don't have to actually pay anything to evict anyone, repair any properties. We don't even have to go through an attorney to remove a lien or a deed of trust. It's just we resell that property. Now our cost basis is even lower, and we've extended out a larger return on investment. And in fact, all of this is automated with a simple tool, a set it and forget it software system called geekpay.io. You simply set it up one time, and you get these payments every single month via ACH or their checking account. It does all the notifications. It does all the accounting. You just simply go to bed at night and watch the money literally flow into your bank account magically. Number 6, land investing scales. You don't have to be like the housing people, an expert in their local market. All you need is an inexpensive laptop and internet connection, and start doing deals from anywhere in the world. Let me show you just how much this business scales. If you are in traditional real estate like the housing people I mentioned before, you are confined to 1 to 2 metropolitan areas, which limits the number of deals you can do. If more competition enters the market, there's less opportunity for you. If the market dips, you are vulnerable to it. With land investing, you can run this business from wherever you want. Say you start doing deals in County A and everything is going along fine. You've set up your systems. You've got virtual assistants doing the heavy lifting. You've automated repeatable tasks, which we'll talk more about next. But what stops you from entering another market in County B? Nothing. Once you've got a great handle on the market in one area, you can expand your business to another. This is great protection from any type of market dips, increased competition, and more issues that I haven't even thought of. Your territory is the whole United States. It can't get better than that. Number 7, you can leverage your time. I work about an hour per week in my land business. Take that, Tim Ferriss. 90% of the business is automated with software and inexpensive virtual assistants around the globe. Number 8, there's no headaches, no renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. No one's calling me at 3 a.m. saying, hey, my land is leaking. I want to talk about a worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is that you own land. So I remember talking to my wife about when I first started land investing. She says, well, what happens if you can't sell the land? I said, well, the worst case scenario is we own land. Maybe I can barter it. Maybe I can improve it or trade it. You'll never be stuck with a piece of raw land. In fact, I've done this over 6,000 times. I've never been stuck with a piece of raw land. None of my clients have been stuck with a piece of raw land. Another example would be, well, what happens if you overpay for the land? Well, if you've got training, there is no way that you're going to look at the comparable sales, divide by 4, have that 300% of margin, and overpay. If you have an environmental issue, you could go to EPA.gov to make sure you're not buying in a Superfund site. I've even bought properties where I messed up my due diligence. I bought on the side of a mountain for $2,500. I put it up on eBay. I thought, oh, well, I'll just get, maybe my money back. I put it at no reserve for 10 days, $1 minimum bid. It went up to $30,000. And I called the guy and I'm sweating. I'm like, did you see that it's on the side of a mountain? This 20 acres of land, maybe only 5 of it is accessible. He said, it's perfect. He was a director in Los Angeles. He didn't want to have to deal with pulling permits from the county. Now he owns the land and he can go out there and film. Essentially, there is a pig for every barn. And you can just learn more at thelandgeek.com. And don't take my word for it. Ask the community about any type of worst case scenarios that could come up. But in our business, it's extremely, extremely rare. Number 9, since we aren't dealing with a tenant, we're exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this onerous real estate legislation. Number 10, it's the best passive income model. It's a one-time sale. You get recurring income every single month, nothing to maintain, nothing to protect, 0 headaches. Leave a comment for me if you know of something better. I'm flexible like a yogi. I'd be interested in it. I have not found anything better. You don't need hardly any money to start, and you can travel the world working this model. Thanks for your time, and if you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe so YouTube strokes my fragile ego. See you next time. Hey, it's Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek from thelandgeek.com, and here's another episode of Coffee Talk. So this morning I am drinking Bulletproof coffee. One of my coaching students, Tori, told me about this. It's like a paleo diet thing, but basically what it is, it's a tablespoon of grass-fed butter and then a tablespoon of coconut oil, and you can blend it if you want it really frothy. I'm lazy. I just mix it all together, drink it. I'm telling you, my energy level today and my level of focus is amazing. So don't knock it till you try it. And it doesn't taste bad at all. Actually, it's pretty filling. So today's episode, I want to talk about selling, and selling. So back when I first started, one of the biggest mistakes I made was I'd make a quick sale, buying and flipping land, and that was it. I just go on to sell to the next person and continue doing that. There was no relationship with any of those past customers. I just thought, well, someone else will want to buy this property. It's so inexpensive. It's so great. Will that ever end? Well, in 2008, I would have been so thrilled to have a customer list that I could go back to and possibly, send out promotions for other pieces of property. So if you're starting out, the first thing I want you to do, besides acquire a piece of property, pennies on the dollar, and then begin marketing that property, is have some type of system set up. I like to use Aweber that will help you build a list. So the first thing to do is create a landing page and then use a back-end email system like an Aweber or a MailChimp to stay in constant contact with your customers and provide them additional value. So if you're not doing that, you're making a huge mistake, because the easiest person to sell a piece of property to is someone that's already done business with you. They already know you, they already like you, they've already given you money and trust you. So why not keep providing them more value with additional pieces of property? So if you want more tips, tricks, techniques on how to make money buying and selling raw land, go to thelandgeek.com, download for free the Passive Income Blueprint. Check out the podcast. And if you're listening to the podcast, do me a favor, leave me a nice review on iTunes. It really helps. Or just leave me a comment on the site as well. Doesn't matter. But I really appreciate having a virtual cup of coffee with you this morning, and I'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, we are Scott Bosman and Mike Zano. We are land investors and we learned from the Land Geek. And we wanted to welcome you to the official Land Geek Motivation and Wealth Creation group on Facebook. You may also be receiving this video prior to a call with us. So take a peek. It'll take maybe 10 minutes. We just wanted to give you a little introduction as to what land investing is, what it looks like, and also talk a little bit about our Land Geek programs. So, one of the reasons that people seek out passive income opportunities is because they are overwhelmed in life. They're unsure with their current path. And we want you guys to know that you don't have to be, especially with this business model, because it is truly a passive income machine and it can change your life really quickly. That being said, what is land investing? So it's like I mentioned, it's a passive income and deal closing machine that allows you to work when you want, where you want, and with whom you want. And the beauty of this business is you can automate it, you can scale it to the point where you're working, honestly, a couple hours a day for over 5 figures a month passive income. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. It's happened for many of us. And what does that do then? It relieves you of financial stress and debt and worry. So you can enjoy life. You can focus on what's really important in life. And I know this is important to you, Mike, as well as it is for me, time and relationships and dreams that you have.
Yeah, having that why is so important. And I know that most of the people in our community align on that fact alone, that they have incredible jobs, a lot of them, but it takes up so much time that they just can't spend the amount of quality time they want with their family. And so land investing is a great solution.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, here's kind of a brief overview of the business model. We buy land for pennies on the dollar, and we typically buy land from people who are distressed. So maybe they have back taxes. Maybe they've owned the property for 30 or 40 years and they don't know how to get rid of it. Maybe they've inherited it and they don't necessarily want it. So we come along and we're able to solve a problem for them and help them get rid of the land they don't want. And then we sell it really in one of 3 ways. I'll let you talk about that, Mike.
Yeah, so the most important way that we talk about and most people love is the term. So basically, a lot of people out there want the land that we have. There's an incredible market, whether they're looking for just an investment purpose, or they're going to go camp on it, they're going to use it for RV, or ATVs or hunting, or there's just a variety of reasons, but they just can't come up with the money. And a lot of times banks are not going to loan them money for this vacant piece of land. So they're kind of caught in a bind. Well, we solve that problem. We allow them for a very small, easy monthly payment to own and use that land. So that's a term sale. So then typically in our model, within 10 months, we have our money back. And these are agreements that we'll have for 3, 5, 10 years. So you have many, many months of, this passive income, this one-time transaction with returned monthly notes coming in, monthly note payments coming in. So it's incredible. So that's how we build up. You sell a property, $200 a month, you sell 10 of those, that's $2,000 a month. That'll move the needle for many people right there alone. Now, there are other people who are going to want to just buy the property cash. So, we have the ability to offer them an incredible cash deal. We buy 25 cents on the dollar. Mark calls that Warren Buffett margin of safety. So now we could still sell below market value at a cash price, but and realize an incredible return. And then wholesale, near and dear to me. I've done literally hundreds of properties wholesale. I buy them I just buy them at a great price where I know I can sell to another investor, double my money. They can turn around and sell to make 300, 400, 500% on terms. Everyone's happy, and it's an incredible opportunity. So terms, cash, and wholesale.
Awesome. So that's land investing in a nutshell, right? What is Land Geek? Now, Land Geek has provided me with the opportunity to start a business, maintain a business, and grow a business to the point where I was able to quit my job as a physical therapist. And I could not have done it without this community, without the coaching in this community, without the collaboration of the group. That's something that's really special, Mike, is our group of Land Geeks. Yeah. We are very transparent with our information. Part of that is because the market is so massive that competition is basically non-existent. So we want to help each other move forward and to reach those goals of financial freedom and time freedom. And there's an overwhelming sense of commitment from the coaches in this community to help you move forward. And it really is powerful in that regard.
Yeah, incredible community. We have what Mark calls the abundance mentality as opposed to the scarcity mentality. So what's unique about our group is we talk openly about our deals, where we're doing them, and just the reason is where we do these deals, there's just so much land out there that we're not going to run into each other. We're not going to inhibit each other's ability to make sales. So the collaboration is huge.
Awesome. So what are some things that you guys can do first joining this group? This is a quick blurb about us. I already mentioned my story briefly. Was able to replace my income in 2 years. Mike, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm a full-time firefighter, over 20 years. I met Mark through a friend of mine who was one of Mark's first students, and he was already making thousands per month passive. So I went over his house. I saw immediate proof of concept. One of my close friends was actually doing so well. So I just wanted to see if I could make it happen. Went out to Arizona, met Mark, taken back by his sincerity, his authenticity. I knew this was a path that would work. So in the first year, flipping small pieces of land, we're talking buying pieces of land for $400, $500, $600, doubling that, paid off the credit card debt in 1 year, which really was just lifting a weight off of my shoulders. And the next year I was able to raise money for a wedding. I got married. We raised all the money and then some within a few months of wholesaling land. And we just continued to grow. My wife no longer works outside of the house. She's was a teacher. Now she's able to stay home. We do the land business together. I don't work overtime. I stay with my job. I love it. It's just an incredible group of people. So I'm not ready to leave that. But the way this land business has affected us positively is our life has just slowed down. We're able to enjoy time with the family. My son's even doing land investing now, my 24-year-old. So it's just an incredible business model.
That's awesome. So what can you guys do? We want you to take advantage of a few things. Use the Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, please join it, the Land Geek official wealth creation and motivation group. Land Geek it, we call it. Go to the search icon, type in mailings, type in due diligence, type in marketing, type in sales. You'll see every post that's ever been written about those topics. Type in Mike Zaino. You'll see every post he's ever written. But it's a great way to learn. Read or listen to Dirt Rich. Mark released his book, I think, in the summer of 2018. It's a really great read. It talks about Mark's journey from his start, in land investing in 2001 all the way up to the present, and it really shows you the power of this business from his perspective. Listen to our podcasts, the Roundtable podcast. You can find on the landgeek.com, YouTube, the Facebook group. We have mastermind calls with our one-on-one coaching students that are published in the Facebook group every Wednesday. Nightcap is a goofy show that Mike and I do live on Facebook once a week, Wednesday or Thursday nights. We sit down with a cocktail and we talk land investing. Every once in a while, Mike sings a song as well. We're starting a new thing called the Land Geek Spotlight, where Mike and I interview people who've had success with Land Geek and land investing, and they tell their story. And that brings me to the last thing. We do have a Land Geek app with the Best Passive Income Model podcast and the Art of Passive Income podcast. Those podcasts are amazing. Mark has been serving in that regard for a long time. I loved the Best Passive Income Model podcast when I was just starting land investing 3-4 years ago, because Mark talks all land all the time, and he had a lot of student success stories on there. So that's a great motivating podcast to listen to. Something you guys can do to take action. Number one, I would encourage you to just schedule a call to talk to Mike and myself about land investing, about Land Geek. We'd be happy to have a 30-minute conversation with you regarding strategy, regarding your current situation in life and what we can do to help, because it really is about that. It's about helping other people achieve freedom financially. If you're looking to take massive action, you can get the Investor Toolkit now at a significant discount. So here's the link. There's a coupon code 500IVT for $500 off. And with the Investor Toolkit, you get 2 tickets to a Land Geek Bootcamp, which is the conference we put on 4 times a year, as well as a couple coaching calls. We can also have a discussion about Land Geek Flight School, which is really becoming the gold standard for getting into this business because you move so quickly and you learn from the best of the best in Scott Todd, who at his 4-year anniversary in land investing, I think he hit $50,000 a month passive income, which there's nobody better you want to learn from. And then you also get LG Pass, which is the software that helps us automate our mailings, our due diligence, and our paperwork. A very high success rate with Flight School. Here are just a few screenshots of some of our Flight School students. Some of those cash pictures are a little gimmicky sometimes, but you know, Barbara Thibodeau here is showing her wad of cash. She did that closing on the tailgate of her pickup, and she's done a couple since then. People get really amazing deals, and we encourage them to share those stories. And what do you say, Mike?
Well, the magic is in the story, right? That's exactly where you know, you learn everything. And I also say deal flow solves everything. So
Right.
this deal flow is just when you start mailing out offer letters, when you start getting deals in the pipeline, and you start selling property, everything changes. It's not just philosophical at that point, it's real. So these are people who went through Flight School with Scott Todd. As he likes to say, Scott Todd, that his success leaves clues. He doesn't just leave clues, he gives you the actual, you know, the hard information and shows you what to do week to week, so you can end up doing deals like this as well. And we should point out too, Scott, that although she did that in the back of a pickup truck, that is a rarity. I've never been to a land parcel that I bought. It's just or sold. It's just that you know, sometimes there's that opportunity for someone that's close by.
Awesome. So one last thing, contact us anytime. Those are our cell numbers. Text us, give us a call, email us at info@landgeekguys.com, schedule a call at thelandgeek.com/training. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you. As you can tell, Mike and I are pretty passionate about this business, land investing, and this community, Land Geek, because it has changed our lives. So we'd love to help you get started on your journey.
Awesome. Reach out, guys. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, hey everybody, this is Whitney Nicely, and today is my second day of my 40-day challenge to do a Facebook Live every day. So today we're talking about how I bought my first piece of vacant land, and I'm sitting here with my cousin Freddie, and I asked him, should we talk about the very first piece of vacant land that I bought, or the very first piece of vacant land that I bought and made money on? So we decided together that I would talk about the one that I made money on, because it's a lot more fun if we're going to talk about making money than if we're just talking about land. So the very first piece of vacant land that I bought was at an absolute auction. It was an online absolute auction. And if you are looking for an auction near you, go to Google and type in the name of your city, real estate auction, or type in the name of the city that you want to buy in, real estate auction. And auction.com will come up, but that is a website that the government uses to get rid of their foreclosures, and y'all know how I feel about the F word, so we're not going to talk about that, and we're not going to talk about auction.com. I want you to find Ma and Pa Auctioneer in your town, and I want you to get on their email list so that whenever they have a real estate auction, you'll know about it. And now listen, this doesn't happen overnight. You might have to go to a couple practice auctions before you really get in the rhythm of it. And you know what's going on. You will see some of the same people there bidding on the real estate, and that'll kind of get you in the practice. So don't find something that you want to go buy and make that your first auction. Go to some practice auctions, okay? And I've been going to auctions since middle school, so I've done tons of practice. But what's really cool, and a lot of auctioneers, and I'm an auctioneer, and I do this also, I do online auctions. Instead of, you know, having a bunch of people out on a Saturday and pitching a tent and feeding everybody hot dogs and making a big day out of it, a lot of auctioneers, myself included, we're doing real estate auctions online, which is way more fun. That means I can be here at my office bidding. I can be at the ballpark bidding on a property. I can put my bid in before I go to bed and wake up and bought a property. And that's what I did on my first piece. Okay? So I was subscribing to Pal Auction Realty here in Knoxville. That's who I used to work for when I was a baby agent and a baby auctioneer, an auctionette. And I signed up for their email list because I went to their auctions, and it's a mom and pop company here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they have lots of real estate auctions. So I got the email that they had, 10 or 15 different properties that were going out. And a lot of times the reason auctioneers have online auctions is because they have 10 or 15 properties that need to be sold, but each one wouldn't make for a very good auction by itself. So they have one big online auction and do, 5, 10, 15 properties in the same sale. So I was just kind of browsing through that auction, and I was looking at it, and they advertise them for about 6 weeks, and you can go check out the houses, you can go check out the land, you can, do your homework on it. And it ended up, they had one little piece of industrial land, a half acre of industrial land in the city of Knoxville. And it was on my side of town. Y'all know that my mom, my cousin Freddie, my Uncle Ray, they have properties on the east side of town. Like, we've always been real estate investors in East Knoxville. So this piece came up, and it was in East Knoxville. It was closer to downtown than anything else that we have, but it was still like, if I was really good at throwing a rock or a baseball, I might be able to hit it from my house. Definitely from Freddie's house, I'd be able to hit this piece of land. So it was right in my little honey hole, right where I like to buy stuff. So I went to bed that night, and I put in a bid of like $1,500, I think. Maybe $1,200. I don't know. Something, little bit of nothing. Little bit of no money. Let's say it wasn't $1,500. It must have been $1,200. I don't know. Not much. And I woke up in the morning with an email from Pal Auction that said, "Congratulations, bidder number whatever I was. You have bought this property at whatever it is, Prosser Road, for," I think it was like $1,200, and then 10% on top is $120. So there's $1,320, and then there's taxes and closing costs, and all in, all done. When we got to closing on this property, I was $1,500.36. $1,536.86. Just like a squidge over $1,500, and I bought this lot. Vacant, empty, half acre of industrial land. So, what did I do with it? Well, the first thing I did was go downtown, and I buy houses and I buy other pieces of land. And so I was downtown, and I was talking to some of the codes guys. I was really flirting with the codes guys, if you want to really know what I was doing down there. And I said, "Oh yeah, guys, I just bought this piece of land over on Prosser Road. Why don't you check it out and tell me if you think I got a good deal on it or not?" So they checked it out, and they said, "Hold on a second." And they got to digging, and they dig, and they were digging, and they were digging a little deeper. And they said, "Do you know that you didn't just buy that land, but you bought half of that road too?" I said, "There's no road there. There's just a driveway that divides my land from my neighbor's land." And they said, No. That driveway used to be a road, and the city decided they didn't want it back in 1992. So in 1992, the city took that road and drew a line down the middle. And you got half, and your neighbor got half. I said, "So you're saying that when my neighbor drives on this driveway, when they go in, the left tire is on their property, but the right tire is on my property? And then when they come back out, the left tire is on my property, and the right tire is on there. Is that what you're saying?" And they said, "Yes." So I went to my neighbor, who's a Fortune 500 company, like on the NASDAQ, on the stock market, like a really big deal. And I walked up in there and told the secretary, the lady at the desk, I said, "I need to talk to whoever's in charge of your real estate." Just busted in there like Kool-Aid. "I need to talk to your real estate person." And, they put me through the ringer, and I had to talk to this person and that person and whatever. So I finally got to the guy that I needed to talk to. And I said, "Hey man, you're driving on my driveway and I want to be compensated for it, so pay up. I didn't exactly use those words, but that was pretty much the gist of what I said, okay? And he said, no, little real estate girl, you're obviously confused. We've had this driveway since 1992, and nobody's ever told us that we were driving on their land. You're confused. And if we are driving on your land, we're just going to move our fence back and not drive on your land anymore. I said, okay, fine, but I think you should just rent the driveway from me and we'll call it a day. He said, I tell you what, I'll have my surveyor go out and we'll call you and let you know where we're going to move our fence so that we don't bother your land anymore. And I said, all right, do whatever you got to, I don't care. So I went on about my business and I was doing, whatever it was I was doing, and I wasn't really paying that much attention. And he called me one day out of the blue on his cell phone, and I answered. I didn't know it was him on his cell phone, but he called and he said, yes, Miss Nicely, it turns out that we are driving on your driveway and we would like to set up a formal rental agreement with you so that we could rent that land from you and make sure everything's good to go. How much would you like in rent, ma'am? And I said, oh yeah, well, it's all fun and games until I'm right. No. Well, how much were you thinking about paying me for rent to drive on my driveway every month? And he said, well, we were thinking about $250. Would that be okay? Y'all, I'm a PAL kid. I'm not really good at math. I really depend on my calculator a lot. But when he said he'd pay me $250 a month and I knew I had $1,500 in it, it didn't take me too long to calculate that after 10 months I'd have $2,500. So obviously this is probably going to be a good deal. But I didn't say yes immediately. I said, will you hold on just a second for me? And I turned to my brother who was with me when he happened to call back, and I said, what do you think? And Tyler said, sounds good to me. And I said, all right, hold on. So I got back on the phone with Mr. Hotshot and said, all right, we'll take the $250 a month, but we want you to be responsible for any maintenance. If this driveway needs gravel, if it needs to be graded, if you have a tree that falls and you got to clear it, if it needs snow removal. I mean, like, I don't want to touch this driveway. I don't want you to call me about this driveway. I don't even want to know what's going on with this driveway. I just want to see the money come in every month. So you have to be responsible for the maintenance, and I want you to pay my property taxes every year. Which, honestly, y'all, it's like $50. It's not a big deal at all because it's just a half-acre piece of industrial land in the city of Knoxville. It's nothing fancy. There's not a lot of taxes on it. But I told him I would take $250 a month if he would be responsible for the maintenance and he would pay my property taxes every year. And he said yes. Woohoo! So that was in the summer of 2012 or 2013. I can't remember now. But regardless, we had Tyler and I put $750 each in this deal. We were $1,500 into this deal. Okay? So another thing was, I bought this land in June. We closed the 1st of July. And it was like September or October by the time I'd gone and talked to the codes guys, by the time I'd gone and had it surveyed, by the time they'd had it surveyed. Like, it just took some time for this to kind of spread out. So that was the last thing I told him, is that I wanted to be compensated from the day I'd owned this property. And he said, I can't do that, that just seems kind of crazy to me, but what I'll do is I'll give you 3 months. I'll give you 3 months and start paying this month on this land. So they gave me $750 and started paying that month. And every month on the 16th, 17th, or 18th, I get an email from them that $250 has gone into my account. So we've had a $1,500 investment in vacant land since either 2012 or 2013. We got all of our money back within a year, and we've been making money on that driveway since then. But wait, there's more. So every year my family goes to Florida in February. We go down for the races, we go down for some sun, some vitamin C, and just some good time with the family. So this year I went ahead, and Tyler came on down. I think I'd been there for about a week, and then he came on down and he said, "Guess what?" And I said, "I hope it makes money." And he said, "It does." I said, "What'd you do?" And he said, "Well, you know, we got the driveway rented to the Prosser Road lot, but then we've had this half acre just sitting there, growing grass, not doing anything for 3, 4, 5 years, 3 or 4 years by this point. And I rented it." And I said, "You rented our vacant land? How much did we get?" He said, $500 a month. $500 a month comes into our account every month for vacant, empty, raw dirt and trees land. Plus we get $250 a month for the driveway usage by our neighbor. So every month Tyler and I collect $750. That means every other month we get our entire investment back. The only way you can do better than getting your entire investment back every other month is to get your entire investment back every month. Okay? And this is raw land. We don't have any overhead. We don't have to worry about toilets. We don't have to worry about a roof. We're just bringing money in off this vacant piece of land, and I'll go when I leave here and take a picture of it and post it up so that you can see my first piece of vacant land that I bought at an online auction for $1,500. Tax tag and title, not at the tax sale, clear deed, all in, all done, $1,500. It's mine. And Tyler and I are going to make money on this little chunk of land for the rest of our lives. So, if you could find a piece of land and you could put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, you could put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 into it and buy it and then rent it for $750 a month. If you did that once a month, by the end of the year you'd be making $7,500. Is that 70? What's 10 times 7? 750. That's 7,500, isn't it? Yeah. How many times do you need to do that before you can quit your 9 to 5, or before you'll realize that the money is in real estate? You know, like, what is it, 80 or 90% of millionaires became millionaires from real estate? And you don't need a trust fund. You don't need $100,000 to get started. This is just a little bitty chunk of land that I bought for $1,500, and now I rent for $750 a month. That's a solid return on investment with no overhead. So even if you didn't want to graduate into houses and apartments and you only bought land for the rest of your life, know what you're buying. If y'all have any questions, we started Maze coaching yesterday, group coaching. You can always go to WhitneyNicely.com. I've got books there. I've got some programs there. I've got the group program up there. Like, real estate is not complicated. So don't try to make it complicated. Okay? It's really fun, and it's pretty easy. So, don't let any of these excuses stop you. Get out there, buy some houses, buy some land, buy some apartments, but get out there and start creating your financial freedom today. If y'all have any questions, send me a message. Let me know if I confused you, if I missed anything, but know that the opportunities are out there, and I'll help you get there. Bye, y'all.
else. And before we go any further, we've got a celebrity in the audience here, Henry Serrano. Henry, how long have we known each other? Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, probably at least 10 years.
Henry, are you going to need we're going to need to give you screen share?
Yes. Yeah. If you could do that, Claude.
I'm going to make you a co-host. I'm going to mute everybody because we're getting some background noise. So you're going to have to unmute yourself there, Henry. If anyone has a question for Henry, you can put it in the chat box. We'll try to get to all of them before the end of the hour, or raise your hand. We've got a real world investor. I've known Henry for a long time here. He is a specialist in land. I love land. Claudia and I have properties where we just bought the developed land. We've made great money on it. Some of the best investments we have ever done have been in land. Okay, no tenants and toilets, and they just go up and up in value. Henry does deals all over the U.S., maybe even other countries by now. I'm not sure. This man lives on airplanes. Okay, even during COVID, he was flying. This is one of the bravest men I know. So without further ado, Henry, the legend Serrano from Fresno, California. Welcome, Henry. I'm going to mute everybody first, Henry. So unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I'm showing not muted. So can you hear me?
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Oh.
And then you unmute yourself. Okay. Unmute yourself.
All right, there we go. How's everyone doing?
You're good.
Okay, good deal. All right, guys, I'm going to sort of rush through this a little bit, but I'm going to cover some things so I can leave some questions because I always have questions here towards the end. So I am going to share my screen here really quick. And one of the things that Claude had mentioned exactly is about land. And so I have been doing land since 2008. I'll go a little bit more into the history, but one of the things I just want to show you, just one of the deals I have going on right now. Happens to be in South Carolina. I picked up this property back in, it was just right before, about a year and a half ago. And what we see right here essentially is a contract. So you guys can see my screen. You can nod, say yes. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
A lot that I picked up for about $3,200, and I just got an offer on it right here for $25,000.
How do you sleep at night?
We'll talk because I'm like, well, I sleep good now. But these are things that are always going on. And I know the biggest question, and believe me, I also do houses. So don't necessarily think I do that because sometimes when I have land, there's houses that are attached to them too. So that's something else, that we'll talk a little bit about. But one of the things I wanted to say here, because I know, and I know Victor had mentioned this also, is in regards with land. And so you guys may have come across some deals where you may come across land, don't know what to do with them, and then you end up just passing on them. But sometimes a person say, hey, listen, I've got a house, but I need to sell the land right next to it. So these are just some of the things that may come up, but just some brief history about myself, just some background. Actually, I've been involved in real estate since 1990 back then. So my dad got me involved in regards with it. Also had, I was in the financial services and insurance, but I always did at least real estate there on the side. However, back in 2010, I went full time, and that's just about the time I met Claude. I think it was a year right before that, and that's when he had the gut system. And consulting was one of the things that I know that was one of his packages that I got into. But the other thing though is I also do coaching, mentoring. I work with a lot of real estate agents in regards with it. But I do land. I've done lease options. I used to do quite a few single family homes. This was prior to 2010. That's mainly all that I did was single family homes. Now I do deals all across the country. I also speak at real estate events, and I also have my own local meetup group, which is another thing that I highly recommend. Claude knows about this. He spoke at a couple of my events, which I do recommend, and they're starting to come back. And so I'm planning in July to do a live event there for our meetup group. So this is something, that definitely want to be able to do. One of the other things that I'm going to talk about in regards with vacant land is why vacant land. Okay, one of the key questions here, and what I've always liked is that there's no tenants, toilets, or termites in regards with it. So the thing here is I used to have tenants, I used to have rentals, and it was very challenging, difficult, trying to collect the rent. We see what's going on right now with this moratorium in regards with people giving more than a year or so not having to pay rent. Well, I'm not having to deal with a lot of the certain situations. I could do easy valuations from a distance. That's always been the biggest question, is how to value them. And actually, it's a lot easier to value land than it is a house at a distance. So these are some of the things that I like. No real ongoing maintenance. That's one of the things when I used to rehab quite a few homes. I don't know if you guys are rehabbing now, but if you've seen the price of lumber, that has almost gone up over 200%. So the material cost alone right now has just about added another 15 to 20% on some of the bottom lines, which could end up wiping out someone's profit. So, but with land, it's just dirt. If somebody takes the dirt, there's more dirt underneath it. So I don't have to worry about it in regards with that is concerned. Believe it or not, demand is still consistent. There's more land than there are houses, so that's something here just to be aware of with it. So that's something there that you want to see is the consistency of the demand, which right now we're seeing it in the housing, but it's always been consistent through the ups and downs. Also, believe it or not, there could be very low capital requirements. A lot of people think that you have to have a lot of money to buy land. Well, you don't necessarily have to. This is where some of the creative financing, which Claude teaches and talks about within the GUT system, to be able to be a little bit creative. Also, one of the biggest things, I think that's a niche that's going to separate you from everyone else, is that you can do owner financing on vacant land. It's not subject to the SAFE Act. That's one of the things when you try to do any type of owner financing on somebody's principal property, if you do more than 2 or 3 transactions within that state and you're not licensed, then there could be issues. So that's one of the things. Also, banks will not finance vacant land. That's the other, I would probably say, niche in there that you could probably be able to do in regards with it. And also, it's fun and creative. There's just some certain things that I've done that I'll talk a little bit about in some of the vacant land that I've done there. The other thing here, and if I can advance this, go back. Okay, so valuation. This has always been one of the biggest questions I always get is somebody, how do you evaluate land? And so one of the things that you can do is comparable sales approach with other different types of land. There's an income approach. I had 30 acres in West Virginia that was actually timber. So they would harvest it every 10, 15 years for timber. So that was income generated there. So that's something that you can generate income off of vacant land. Obviously, we all know about agriculture, but timber was one of them that I used. And then there's just the marketability approach. So these are some of the things here. The other thing is that some of the key factors that I would probably say is that you need to make sure that you have access to water, also road access. There are certain situations where land can be landlocked. What I mean by that is that you could be basically locked in from other parcels where you have no access. And that does happen quite a bit out in the rural areas, but that's something you want to be concerned with. And then also utilities. So these are, I would probably say, the 3 main factors that you want to be definitely up to speed in regards, with that. The other thing is that sometimes with some of the sales, you do have to go out a little bit further. I know in this type of hot market, especially with houses, they usually look at, the last 60 or 90 days. Sometimes with vacant land, it could extend out about 12 to 24 months, but it's still an ability to be able to get it and to get some sort of valuation. One of the biggest things that has really helped me quite a bit during this time for valuation is the county records and assessments. That's one of the things now that hopefully the counties are slowly getting their employees back into the buildings now. But this is something here where you can pick up the phone, talk to a local county representative, especially either in the appraiser's office or tax office, and you can ask them how they assess the land. So this is another thing that you can do in each one of the counties for that. So the reason why I have a little red dot, because sometimes this is one of the key things that will really help you open up your eyes on getting a valuation of the land. Now, the next thing here and that we see here is where I buy land. And that's one of the biggest questions that I have too. Well, there's so much out there. Where do you start? Well, most of the time I start is in the southern parts of the United States. That's where I typically do because that's where the demand is. And usually that's where the warmer weather is. So you see a lot of people moving towards the south part of the U.S. So some of the states I do invest in, I look at California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Texas has been really big. Florida, North Carolina, and South Carolina. These states where I've seen there's been a lot of demand, that's where a lot of people are moving to. Now, California, I know they're moving out. I don't do as much in California as I do in these other states, but we're seeing growth definitely in North and South Carolina in these areas that we're seeing, and also obviously in Texas. The other thing is I'm buying them closer a little bit to the cities, but also on the outside of the city limits. This is where some of the things where some of the biggest deals that I've gotten have been just right outside of city limits. And sometimes it's land that people just don't want, or I'm in the path of where developers are. That's where I had a couple of my biggest deals were there in New Mexico, where I ended up selling these parcels to Toll Brothers. I don't know if anybody's heard of Toll Brothers or Ho Cavanian. These are big developers of single family homes. And so what I typically do is I'll buy them just right outside of that path of growth. And so that's something there that I look at on where to buy it. And then economics, when we see growth going on, people move. We're seeing the demand. That was one of the things we saw last year. A lot of people were moving, outside of the, outside of the bigger cities. Everybody was moving out of New York. Claude knows in regards with New York City. Used to live there.
They still are. There was a Wall Street Journal article today. People who can afford to do so are leaving the big cities and going to the suburbs.
Right. And that's some of the things that you can see some of the trend that's going on in regards with it. The other thing is how to evaluate it. I'm going back to it because a lot of people have the questions, but like I said, recent sales from the MLS. There's a couple of other different things, which is LandWatch. And then there's another thing that I use called Agent Pro 247. And LandWatch is probably one of the biggest resources. I would say they're the Zillow of vacant land, because they have purchased a lot of other websites on vacant land. But this is a really good resource guide here to figure out about vacant land. A lot of people I know, Zillow has looked into vacant land. They're slowly pricing it, but LandWatch is probably one of the biggest things. And then, like I said, with the county, the counties are also very, very good in regards with it. So Claude put that in the chat there, landwatch.com. Like I said, key elements, again, you're going to hear me say this again. These are the three things that I look at: water, road access, and utilities. Those are always the three things that I look at in regards with it. And then the other purpose of the land. Is it ag? Is it commercial? Is it, set up for zoning for industrial or development? So these are some of the things you definitely want to find out a little bit more, and the assessor can help you in regards with that. There is sometimes, this is a really key thing, there's a difference between assessed value and market value, especially here in California. Proposition 13, which hopefully it still stays that way. I know they're trying to get rid of it, but if somebody had purchased their property 30 years ago, typically that value is locked in, and it can only appreciate, as far as taxes are concerned, 1% per year. So obviously an assessed value can be completely different than a market value. So that's something you just definitely want to know, because some people tend to forget that in regards, but sometimes they're the same, but most people, are in regards with that. So one of the things that we'll cover, next one, and I'll go back, is while you're looking and things to look for research, it's economic development of the county. Every single city has what they call a master plan. This is a 10 to 20 vision of where they're going to plan to expand growth and control it. So typically what they end up doing then is they meet every so often, and you can actually ask the county for their master development or master plan of the cities. And this is what they do, is they may get a piece of land and what they call annex it. And what that does, that grants permission for those developers to come in and build on those properties maybe 5 years from now, once all the resources like water, utility, that are already in there to be able to develop. So that's really key, is just talk to the economic development of the county just to get that master plan. Also, potential increase in growth and value. I mean, this is something, like I said, what's been annexed. So this will give you kind of a jump forward. That's exactly what I did in New Mexico. Is essentially I went to the city, talked to the county, asked them, hey, what areas did they annex? They just annexed about 40 acres at that point. That's when I went in there and picked up that acreage. And then within a year later, that's where I had the Toll Brothers come in and wanting to buy that because that was annexed in regards for growth. So that's sort of some of the things just to be key or what's involved in there. And like I said, I'll go back and answer some of the questions. I just want to go through the process here, but just put them in the chat. Enterprise zones. These are areas that I know, especially now with some of the new tax packages that are in there, some areas within the city are tax-free zones. What this means is that if businesses go in there and build in there and develop these areas, it's basically giving them a tax incentive. And so I know there's been little pockets within cities that have these zones in there. So this is something else to ask in regards to the county or ask the city, hey, where are your enterprise zones set up? Because this can definitely be a potential to flip a big deal to a developer in regards with it or bring someone else in there. And then, like I said, city governments, now they are getting back in. California is probably the last state, I think, that's doing it. But you know, I'm here in Ohio. They're in their offices, and I'm going to be going to Indiana tonight. So these are two different things that I definitely ask in regards with it. And I'll talk about Indiana in regards with it here in a little bit. But I just wanted to cover that there. Now, one of the key things is what I love about vacant land is that you can actually create cash flow. A lot of people do not know that, but this is where I would probably say is that secret weapon. You know, Claude always talks about chasing deals and doing this, but I love creating notes because that creates that cash flow. That's one of the things that I love about it. So 80% of my land deals are typically owner financing. And I'll talk about a couple of things here when I give some of the examples, but that's one of the things, that's my exit strategy is owner financing. This is where part of this creative action comes in. Land lease. This is some of the things that you can go ahead and lease that land, which I've done before. A couple of fun things that I've done is once a year, I have a company that comes in on a lot that I have. They put a little carnival on there for Christmas tree sales. They do a Halloween pumpkin patch. They've done that. So, you know, this rental for 2 or 3 weeks pays for my property taxes. So this is just some of the creative things that you can do in regards with land leases, you know, and obviously water and grazing, but these are some of the other things that you can land lease. One of the things I did do on one of my lots next to the highway is a big construction company rented my whole area to do cement. That was one of the things. It was cheaper for them to bring in a mobile cement plant than it was for them to bring in these trucks constantly for cement. So they went ahead and they leased that land right next to the freeway because they were expanding the bridge. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, you know, sort of out of the box in regards with it. Another thing, and I know you guys have seen this, but billboards. And I'm not talking about the big billboards that you see off the major highways. These are the little small billboards outside of smaller cities. And these are things that I end up, you know, maybe, and what I ended up doing was ending up either buying ones that have been broken down, or I may build some that are fairly inexpensive. These are the wooden billboards that I'll end up getting, like the railroad ties and putting those together. It costs about $3,000 to build them, but I can lease that billboard for about $400 a month. So within 10 months, I'll be able to recapture all of my costs from there. So billboards have been definitely another strategy that I've been using in regards. And last year, I picked up 10 of them. And the reason why I did that is when we were shut down, everybody was panicking. Well, everyone was thinking, well, no one's going out and driving anymore. So you know what? They wanted to get rid of them. And so this was something here that I was able to capitalize on billboards in regards with it. So it's something that's a little bit unique, but it's a different strategy. Portable self-storage. That's one of the things, that's the other reason why I'm heading to Indiana, is I'm looking at picking up a facility to put together a portable self-storage. And so this is kind of the cheap man's way to get into the storage business. So that's another way to be able to do it. Cell towers, not so much, and antennas, that used to be, you know, but that was something there that I did there in the past. The other thing is partnering on development. right now, that's the biggest thing that I've seen, is because there's not enough housing, not enough developments. And so some of the things that you want to be able to do in regards with it is you want to partner. I may have a lot in regards of maybe an infilled lot where maybe I can go to a developer that's recently building some more homes and say, listen, I'm willing to go ahead and partner with you on this home or on this duplex. You know, essentially, if you go ahead and build it, I'll go ahead and I have the land and we can partner on these two. So that's something a little bit unique here. So I just wanted to give you some ideas here as far as creative land investing is concerned. So hopefully this kind of opened up your mind on some of the other things, what to do with vacant land. Now, some example deals that I wanted to cover here. Oh, let me cover this really quick. I know some of the questions I had was selling land. Once you obtain it and get it, now how do you sell it? Like I said, you develop a buyer's list. That's one of the things you want to be able to do. Investors. The other thing is I've had a lot of international buyers. I've had a lot of people from different countries that have came in and ended up, investing and working with some of them. They've been some of the best that I've worked with are some of the international. Like I said, owner builders. That's been another one that I've worked with. Local buyers in the area. You know, I educate them, a lot of them through types of webinars, more announcements and stuff like that, because the biggest thing that they're having right now is they don't have enough of as far as the land is concerned and where to buy. And so that's been some of the key questions there. Online platforms, Bid for Assets, eBay. Bid for Assets in California, this is all they use now to sell their some of their land in back taxes. And so that's another niche that I do, is I go to a lot of tax sales and pick up land that way. International buyers. The other thing, and I'm going to tell you, this is a really huge thing that I would probably say accounts for probably almost a quarter of my exit strategy, is selling the property to neighbors. If I was up there in Winter Park and I owned a vacant lot right next door to Claude, at some point, if Claude received my letter and said, you know what, Claude, I own the vacant lot next door to you. Before I list it, would you be interested in purchasing this land at a discount? Do you think Claude would call me? Of course. You know, so neighbors have been a huge thing as far as one of my exit strategies are concerned. And so that's one way that I sell, like I said, almost 25% of my properties to neighbors. The other thing, just building trust and information. That's one of the things. I get a lot of referrals from all over the place, especially from a lot of realtors now who have vacant land. They don't know how to sell it. You know, they get a listing from a client and they said they have no idea how to market it. So this is something here, you know, where I may partner on some of the deals just in regards with them. Another thing is a website, sunnyland.com. That's something there that I work with in regards of selling it. That's sort of a site that we just developed there. Owner financing. Like I said, 80% of my deals is owner financing. One of the key things, and this is where guts comes in, you guys, and I would probably say this is what really propelled my business back in 2010 and 2011, was I would, and I told Claude this was my problem. I said, Claude, I would get a seller on the phone and I'd be on the phone for an hour and a half. And the first thing that Claude held up was his little timer, you know? So that's one of the things there that I'll tell you that helped me accelerate my business, because I would be on the phone for an hour where they told me how their Uncle Jimmy got that property and they gave it to someone else. They used to hunt rabbits there and everything else. And you would sit there and listen, but I just wasn't getting enough deals. And so this is where the gut system came in that helped me go through a lot more deals and find motivated sellers. But you need to ask the right questions. I cannot tell you how the importance of that comes in regards with land. It does still even come in with land, but that helps, you know, with that. The other thing, now here are some of the example deals real quick that I'll cover with you. 10 acres, okay? I bought 10 acres for $2,800, believe it or not. I owner financed that one for $18,500. I bought another one for $2,000. Or I bought another one, ended up paying for, essentially I ended up paying $5,000 for it. I got $2,000 down, so I got a majority of my money back. They're paying me $370 a month for the next 72 months. That came out to $29,000. I bought 1 acre for $1,000, believe it or not. Owner financed it for $6,500. You know, I bought another one for $1,000, have payments of $275 for the next 36 months. Mobile home I picked up for $19,500, sold it for cash for $48,000. And so the last one in the very beginning that I showed you guys, this was an infield lot that I bought for $3,500, sold it for $25,000 cash. So the thing here that I'm telling you, that these aren't massive deals, they're not big things, but a lot of these things add up, you guys. And so when you look at it, essentially you got 370, 275, I'll get another 250 here. And so when I originally started this model, my whole goal was just to get $5,000 a month of money coming in. So I knew that my average note was $250 a month. So my thing here was, look, I got to do 25 owner financing deals for the next 3 years. That'll get me, to that. Well, I did that within a year. I ended up getting up to $5,000 a month in cash flow. So this is something here that it can be done. And so these are some of the things that I do quite a bit just in regards with owner financing is concerned. One of the things that I want to go up, let me hit some of the questions before I go into some of the things here, Claude. So I'm going to go into the chat right now, because I did want to leave enough room here for questions.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to trail back up here a little bit. I know some of the people are putting in some of the questions. And
one of the questions I heard from you was, banks do not finance vacant land.
Right.
I have purchased land. I've had it financed from banks, but it was developed land. Is that is that the difference?
There's a little bit of difference there in regards with it. And it all depends how much you put down. If you own it free and clear, no problem, but there's situations if you want to buy it, and I came across a lot with this with people who wanted to build. And that was one of the key things, is that you can't, let's just say you want to buy that parcel, it's 100,000, you have to actually own that land. It's the same thing with the developers. The developers, that's their whole reasoning behind it, is that they're not financing the land. They're buying the whole chunk of land together, and it's sitting in their trust account. Okay. So that's already completed. So in your situation, you're right. Every situation is a little bit different, but typically if I own a piece of land, it's real difficult to go to the bank and try to borrow against it.
Okay.
That's been a big thing.
So
that's been a problem.
You have several questions in here. What is the best method of finding buyers for land? From Derek.
Yeah, the best thing, and I'll tell you one thing that I covered really quick are neighbors. I cannot tell you how many sales that I get. And sometimes, Claude, and I know we're all into social media, we're into a lot of big things, old-fashioned for sale signs work. Okay. I cannot tell you, how I just put up a for sale sign. Someone down the street was driving by, they saw that lot for sale. They'll pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, how much you want for the lot? I mean, so that does work. So neighbors is one big thing. That's a good way to be able to find some of the buyers there. The other thing that I talk about, and sometimes I call it reverse wholesaling, so to speak, is I will get a list of property owners or land buyers in the county, and I'll mail out to them, because most people who buy vacant land typically just don't buy one. They'll buy more than one. So they'll buy a lot more, several on top of that. So that's another thing, is to get a list of local land buyers within that county or even within that state. So that's another way just to be able to get that.
I'm hearing a lot of great old school stuff here. Billboards, knocking on doors, signs, things like that. You're trying to do things that maybe the majority are not doing anymore.
Yeah, and Claude, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because that's exactly it. You want to zig while everybody else is zagging. Everyone's talking about Facebook, talking about PPC, and not to say it doesn't work, but I'm just saying you can't forget about these other methods of marketing too. Okay. So that's something else just to keep involved with that too.
Listen, signs. I see a sign sometimes on a property, and I'm in my car and I got the cell phone. I'll call it. It's so easy. It's some of that old school stuff is excellent. Go ahead.
There's a bunch of other questions I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah, go for it. There's one there. There's a good question there from Alex. Henry, what system do you use to keep track of your leads?
What I used to use something called Podio. But what I've been doing, and this is something here which I'm starting to work with, which I don't know if you know somebody named Joe McCall. So
Joe who? I know Joe.
Yeah, he's been coming to me and asking me a lot about land stuff. So I've been using some of the REL Soft or Freedom Soft is another platform now I'm slowly moving over to. I used to use Podio a lot, but I'm switching everything over to that. I mean, listen, you don't have to spend $200 a month. You can actually do this within Google Sheets, and it's free. So you could pay a VA, you know, $5-6 an hour to update that. So the whole thing here is, yeah, just have something. That's my whole key thing, because everything is in the follow-up.
I could really see it using a VA for some of that. We're updating your spreadsheets and stuff like that. That sounds to me like a really good tip there.
Right. No, and yeah, and I've got we got some times I could show somebody my Google Sheets real quick too, but
we have 10 minutes.
I know. Victor asked, what is annexed? Annexed is essentially what the city does is they'll get that parcel and they will set that aside for growth. So that allows the developers to go in there and do road access, utilities, and water. So it allows them, what they're saying is, hey, the 40 acres just right outside of the northwest city limits off of Avenue 10, we're going to set that aside for future growth. So that's what annexed means in regards with that. So let me go through some other questions. What's the best method for finding buyers of land? I think we just covered that one. Henry, what system do you use to keep track? We just went over that one. Nicholas, do you have any tips on targeting developers for particular lots? That's in advance. Yes, one of the things that I always used to do is I would call the local lumber company and I would talk to the sales managers and ask them which local developers are building lots right now. Because these are people right now, developers that have projects ongoing. So they're always continuing to looking out and purchasing more areas. So, you know, a local lumber company is really good. That's one of the things. Also, your permits. Permits have to be filed there, and they have to list who's doing the developing. So see what the permits are. You can go through and see who's filing permits. So those are two quick things just to be able to do. Jessica, let's see here. Jessica, a challenge is often dealing with cities and counties bureaucracy. Yes, that is true in regards with it. If I do, Jessica, and if it's a city and county is too difficult, you know what? There's hundreds of counties throughout the United States. That's what I love about this business. You know, I will not do business in Cook County, or I call it Crook County. They're in Illinois because it's horrible. So I don't do anything there in that particular county. So if it's too much of a challenge, you know what, Jessica, go on to the next. That's what I love about this, is because it can be done all throughout the U.S. Let's see here. Can you also elaborate on working with somebody? Yeah, well, in that situation, that's somebody there that I don't know if they're allowing anymore just to be able to list property. So it was just something that I developed, but you can list stuff on LandWatch, eBay, you know, Craigslist. So those are some of the other things that you can list on top of that. Or like I said, you can kind of create your own site, but eBay's out there. I mean, bid for assets. I know Zillow's starting to get into some of the land stuff too. What's the standard money down policy when buying land? So Rod, I like to have skin in the game. That's one of the things that I've learned through experience. So if I'm selling a $25,000 piece of property, I'm not going to let them put $500 down, because it's just too much work and everything else. So usually if they put $5,000 down, so at least 10 to 20% is what I require for that down payment. Can you do a 1031 exchange? Yes, you can. Remember, a 1031 exchange, so like I know somebody had asked that question about I don't want to pay taxes. Well, you know what? If I can solve that problem for you today and not pay taxes, can you go ahead and sell this property to me today? You know, so right there, that's something that you could talk to them about, a 1031 exchange. So that's something there that you could do. So to answer your question, yes. About 10 years ago, you couldn't. It had to be like property. 1031 exchange opens that up now. What are some of the key challenges for New Yorker to buy land, say in Texas or Florida? There's none. The thing here, Rod, is look, I live in California, okay? 98% of the deals that I do are outside of California. So to answer your question, Rod, there's no issues. You can buy land in Texas and Florida all day long. A lot of people from New York actually go to Florida. So that's something that you can do. We'll talk about that on how to get a hold of me towards the end here real quick. I know Claude put my email in there. I think those are some of the last minute questions. I know we got a few minutes here, Claude, real quick. So one of the things that I want to go ahead and I'm going to tell you, I'm doing this especially just for Claude, because I normally, I don't go out and I don't teach a whole lot anymore as I used to, because I've been pretty busy. But one of the things that I am doing coming up here is I am doing a workshop. And this is something here that I'm doing on June 5th. It's a Saturday. Normally, I usually do these workshops maybe once a year. I usually charge about $250 for them. It's an all-day type of workshop that we cover from A to Z, how to find, buy, and sell vacant land. So that's one of the things that I cover right there. However, what also I'm doing is I'm putting together a couple of bonus days. These aren't all-day situations, but I'm getting them kind of prepped prior to the workshop, because there's always things that the one-day workshop you go to and you got a million questions or you're not necessarily prepared for. So what I'm doing here is on essentially the 13th. Now the 29th I know is Memorial Day weekend, but that's something there on a Saturday I'm going to look at doing. But the other thing is, after I go through the workshop, I'm going to have a Q&A bonus session, because people always have questions or may end up getting started in something and then they have a question. And so usually I'm going to have something after the workshop. So like I said, the workshop I have alone is $250. The bonus days, these three here, are $750. So usually it's about $1,000. This is what you see in a lot of programs. And I can tell you guys, I have spent literally thousands and thousands of dollars on educational stuff. And so, and I'm seeing programs in the land side right now that people have gotten into the past couple of years that are selling them for $2,500. You know, so they're selling them quite a bit. So what I'm doing is a Claude special here for $99.
Thank you. And so, Henry and I spoke this morning, and I told I kind of beat him up a little. So he did this as a favor to me and our group here. This guy can get a lot more money, and it was very nice of you, Henry, to drop your price like that for us. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. And I did put a link there. If there's issues, I just got to rearrange for Claude, because like we said, we just talked a couple of hours ago. If it's not working, you will have my information that I'll go over. One of the things that someone, I don't know who, Matt Chastowski or he was asking, I'm pretty sure sunnyland.com is Jack Bosch's website. Yes, that is. This is why I'm saying you're probably not going to be able to invest in that. And the reason being is I was actually one of Jack's first students. He started this method back in 2008, and all what he had was a teleworkshop, and that was it. This is where I'm saying I spent a lot of money learning this type of strategy, but like I said, I'm probably out of the original 16, I'm the only one left now, you know, so, but in this situation though, yeah, he still allows me to post some of the stuff on there. But like I said, I would look at LandWatch, I would look at eBay, Craigslist. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, but I wanted you to get an idea of you putting your site together that would look something like that also. So hopefully that answered your question in regards with it on that. So if you do, I don't know if people, do you see the link in there, Claude? I don't know if you do or don't there.
virtual-wholesale.teachable.
Yeah, just click that link. Just click the link. Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. If you have any problems, text this number here that you see right there, or my email. Claude put it in there just in regards with me talking about it. But like I said, I mean, I'm doing this for Claude because it's a steal. You know, in all honesty, I typically, you know, I only do this maybe once a year at the most now at that point. But, you know, like I said, you know, Claude, I'll tell you, the gut system really accelerated my business as far as real estate is concerned. And like I said, this is the reason why I was able to do deals all across the country, because the majority of my stuff is done on my phone. That's one of the things. Now I am starting to get out, and like what Claude said, I'm flying to places because I want to, not because I need to. That's the whole thing that everybody needs to understand. I have a daughter that's going to school in Indiana. It's a small Christian school that she's going to. But what I do is when I go visit her, believe it or not, I do deals there. That's the whole reason why I started developing a whole separate business in Indiana. That's one of the things, the reason why I did there. I'm here in Ohio right now because my other daughter's here. And so she's finishing up high school, but I've done deals here in Ohio. And so this is where I'm saying it's because of things that I want to do, not because of things I have to do. And that's a situation that everybody, you guys need to understand that in regards with what Claude was mentioning about being able to do many different things, which is good. But I've always had a good niche with land.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've always stuck with it. I still do house deals. I'm not going to stop it, but I'm going to tell you though, the other thing too is also networking. Okay, like what Claude said, yeah, you don't see a carpenter, he may have different tools, but you know what? I want to be the general contractor. So if I need a roof, I'm going to go get a roofing expert. So if you need somebody in lease options and that's all that they do is lease options, partner with them. If you got somebody who does multifamily and that's all they do, then partner with them. So that's one of the things that I've been able to expand to, is because I get a lot of people's land deals. They just don't know what to do. Just like I had mentioned, Joe McCall, he had a situation there in Texas, didn't know how to handle or how to break up the things, walked them through a creative financing deal now to be able to do that. So this is something here that like I said, you can partner with other people on. But with this workshop, at least is going to at least give you a general understanding of other opportunities, so that when you get the next land deal, you're not going to toss that lead in the trash. You're going to have some creative ways to say, you know what, I've got a solution here. Or you know what, I have somebody I know I can talk to that can handle your problem. So these are some of the things that I want you guys to be able to help educate just in regards with the workshop. So hopefully, did I get it done in time, Claude? I didn't know if I did.
You got it. I feel a little guilty. I should have given you, you're such a wealth of information. I love having real salespeople, real investors on this platform, not quote unquote gurus who have a phone room of 500 people or anything. You're a real grassroots. If you were just kidding, last question before we go, we're really out of time. If you were starting today, brand new, and you wanted to get into the niche of vacant land, what would be the first thing you would do to get started, to get that first deal? Could you talk about that quickly for a minute?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, you could go through Craigslist, you can go through Zillow. You have to make offers. That's what I can't say. There's a reason why they're selling their property. Well, use the gut system on the phone. Hey, this looks like a great property, Claude. Why are you selling it? And so by doing that, that's going to open up some of the solutions. Claude says, look, I've got a financial problem, or, I'm tired of the neighbor dumping all their crap on my vacant lot. I'm sick of it because I'm getting all these city fines because they're having to come in every time and clean it up. So these are some of the things that are going to help uncover some of the things. So to answer your question, I mean, even if they can go through and look at Zillow, look at Craigslist, look at different things where people are selling vacant land, because these individuals are not getting, tons of postcards or tons of calls. These are some of the people in regards that are trying to get rid of a property. The other thing too is it's non-emotional. They're not living on their land. So it's easier for them to part ways with that piece of property than it is their home.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing just to be able to fight. So you'll have an easier motivation to be able to get that deal.
You can use these land deals to as leverage for new deals, correct? Instead of cash deposits and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that before. There's always trade and bartering. I mean, that's why they not only the 1031, but you could say, look, I've got 40 acres here. If you can exchange it for the house there in the city limits. There's a lot of different things that creative financing can come in.
I'd love to have you back. This just happened and we really got to go. But rezoning, I don't know. I just had a client call me up. He has a property in a very upscale neighborhood. It's zoned industrial. He wants to get it rezoned to residential because the residential is starting to encroach on the industrial area. And this will literally double the value of this land. Any real quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of creative things to be able to present something like that with, and even partnering with a developer, because now he just created his exit strategy. And if you can say, look, I've got this property, if we work together, I can get it rezoned, and then you can go ahead and build your housing development on it.
So rezoning is reasonable and possible.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. Everybody, let's give a round of applause, a thumbs up to this remarkable presentation Henry, I could keep you on for a couple more hours here. I love this. Thank you.
Well, that's what the workshop is for. That's what the good thing is. If they have anything, email me or text me. If there's problem with the links, let me know, but that's something that I could be able to get some of the people set up on.
Can they call you right after we get off here? I got a lot of people on here. We had over 40 something people there. Say hello to Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I'll let you keep going.
Can they call you after this, after we get off the air here?
Yeah, they could do that. Send me a text, and they could just send me a text with their number and I'll get back to them. You know,
Okay.
that's probably the easiest thing to do in case I'm on the phone. So they don't have to leave a message, just shoot a text over to this number. And then at that point, or they can send an email. That's the other thing too, is an email they can send.
Last thing, Jessica wanted to know the date of your workshop.
Oh, June 5th. If you go back, I do have it on June 5th. So if you click on that really quick here on the link, it does show the date on there, but June 5th. And if you can also, I'll have some of the bonus days here that we just talked about. Some of the things here, which I will be having some of the bonus days here. So June 5th is the workshop. Then that starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then May 13th, 29th are just going to be some bonus sessions that I'm going to talk about what I want you guys to prep for that workshop, and some little bit of homework assignments that I want you guys to do.
Great.
So that on June 5th, we're running it.
That's
Yep.
fantastic. Henry, you're a mensch. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy. And best
Okay.
to your beautiful family. Listen, take care. Everybody have a wonderful week. Go out there, make some calls. Call up this man. Go to this seminar, $99.